Death Singer, don't you think Erica's profile picture is much more wholesome than ours?
Here we go. Thursday night. Guys, we got a great Crossfire for you guys. Outstanding week off, guys. You know, I was just talking to Death Singer before the show, and I said, you take 1 week off, and it really does feel like an eternity. It feels like we haven't done this in about a year. So hope everybody is rested. Of course, I'm going through the week, and I'm looking at the news, and I said, you know, there's some games to talk about. There's some things going on here and there. But, you know, it just never fails, as here we are Thursday night, and, you know, news appears as of mid-yesterday into today, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. It's going to go right through the weekend. So, guys, please take a second, hit that like button, if you will. Look at that unbelievable description they got right there. That's at least an A-, I think, in some sort of 9th grade English that I wrote there. If you look right above that is the join button. That join button is how you see all these people in the chat with those green names. Shout out all the way to, I'm trying to say his name wrong, Esprit Lotus. I want to say what's up to Esprit Lotus and MASH. These guys donated almost 60 to 80 memberships to the channel over the past 4 weeks, and I can't say thank you enough to those guys. So if those guys are listening or lurking or coming through later, I want to say thanks to them. Just an outstanding group of guys here that keep giving and giving to the community. That being said, guys, I really have an outstanding panel for you. We have a lot to talk about. Tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are live. But I'll start with the one and only. You guys know him. You know, people say to me, Mooch, you got to get more people on the show that don't just play PlayStation. I said, no problem. He's been on probably for the past 5-6 weeks. I absolutely love him. I really do. He's an outstanding individual in the community. He's a PC gamer. I think he slightly likes Xbox. You guys know that. The great Death Singer is back. Singer, how the hell are you doing tonight, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. It's great to be back. I am a PC gamer.
That's right.
I do like but I do favor Xbox over the others because they actually give me the genre of games I like.
I see.
Third-person action-adventure games are not for me, and unfortunately, Sony primarily makes these types of games. Therefore, I don't gravitate towards it.
That's fair.
Like Ghost of Tsushima. That's more my alley. Make more of that. Make more of that. Do that. That's great.
Wait, Ghost of Tsushima is an action-adventure game.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not the same thing as God of War. But
yeah, what? All right. Well.
Technicalities.
But then again, technically. But then again, I treat it more like an RPG than I do an action-adventure game, like I would God of War, for example. It's the same reason I stayed away from Hellblade 2. Like, I'll never play that game because of the genre it is, right? Hellblade 2 is the epitome of what I dislike.
Guessing, have you played Ragnarok?
I haven't played any God of War game ever.
Yeah, because you'd be surprised. They're very mechanics and RPG heavy, like in terms of build differentials. Because I remember at one point, right, I was playing God of War Ragnarok and several other people, like friends and stuff, were playing it simultaneously. Every single one of us had a different build focus when we were playing the game. Completely different. One was like melee focus. One was, one was slow down time. Another one was like fire, emotion, and stuff like that. So you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much depth there is to the mechanics.
I would be surprised, but the problem is I've seen what I've seen of the game, and it doesn't interest me. It's like when I look when a game is shown off to me,
Give
I'm
him,
like, what's my interest level?
give Nib an example of what you're used to playing. I think that may put things in perspective.
Interest levels is like Dragon's Dogma 2, Baldur's Gate 3. When they showed that off, hype levels through the roof. The RPGs like Trails, The Legend of Heroes, Trails Through Daybreak, just recently released. Fantastic series.
I'll tell you,
Avowed is totally up my street because it's exactly what I'm looking for. See, if you notice, most of these games I'm listing, it's only really provided by third party and Xbox.
Let me ask you a different question then. What is it about Ghost of Tsushima specifically that appealed to you?
Ghost of Tsushima just reminds me of playing an RPG. I don't know, it's really weird. It's kind of like a blend of like Assassin's Creed and maybe a bit of Witcher in my eyes. It's kind of
but that's basically what the new God of War is. Trust me, you should give it a go.
That's what I was going to say, Singer. The one thing that I used to remind me of me many years ago. I'd say, "Oh, that's not my bag." And, don't knock it till you try it, as I've been told many a times by guests on the show.
I was told that, and I tried Horizon because people are saying it's PlayStation's RPG. It fell flat immediately. So it's not that I don't. It's not that I don't try these games. It's just they don't appeal to me. God of War as a series doesn't appeal to me. Do I care about the characters and all that? No, I've never played it. I stayed away from it. That's just an unfortunate time.
All of them? You're talking about all of them or the recent ones?
All of them. Because back in the PS2, obviously back in the PS2, I was too busy playing like GTA. And stuff like that, right? And then
Erica's like,
hey, no. Those GTAs are goated. Let's not do that. And then for the 360 PS3 generation, I went 360, right? So I never had a chance to play any of the games there. And then I went from 360 to Xbox One. So again, I didn't have the chance to play these games. So these series never stuck with me.
That's Singer.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I didn't play God of War until I played 3 like a year before 2018 came out.
What?
So yeah, just be.
Cuts. I gotta question your gamer credentials here, Cuts.
No, it's true because I was.
I'm not gonna do that, Cuts, because I'm not gonna do that, Cuts, because you are a hardcore Souls fan and you're pretty good. I know this.
Okay. I know you feeling a little drowsy. You have a fever or something, so I'm not going to fight.
I made a cup of what they call lean. Yeah, I am. I just downed I downed a bunch of NyQuil. Actually, I mixed it with some Sprite and made some homemade scissor.
There you go.
We had to tell.
But anyways, I just wanted to quickly say that like you can always get into franchises later. There's nothing wrong with that. I did the same thing with Uncharted.
Check 1, 2.
Hi, David.
We hear you, David.
I actually reckon he'll enjoy God of War, honestly. If he likes Ghost of Tsushima, I have a feeling, because Horizon, because it's got that like the crossbow kind of aiming aspect, it's a little bit different. It's not really a hack and slash. It's more of a combat-based game, third-person shootery almost. Whereas I think
they have to sell me on the franchise. Ghost of War piqued my interest, right? When I saw it, I'm like, okay, I love Japanese. I love the whole samurai thing, ninjas. I love it. That piques my interest.
I actually
when they showed off God of War 2018, I sat there and it did nothing for me. I looked at it and went, okay, cool. On to the next game. So when they show me a game, it has to pique my interest. Avowed piqued my interest, but that's because I love Obsidian. Indiana Jones didn't pique my interest because I watched the films, sure. Will I check it out? Sure, because it's on Game Pass. But am I particularly interested in it? No.
I really like that, Singer, how you said you took Ghost of Tsushima and you took God of War and combined them to Ghosts of War. The audience is absolutely loving it.
Too. I heard that.
Sounds like a great game that hasn't been invented yet, but I'll play it. Let me finish these quick intros, and then we're going to get back to this. By the way, this was you guys came for Crossfire. This was Death Singer. This is your life. You guys didn't know that, but Tonight's going to go a little different. The great Nib is here, by the way, as well, which we told Nib what NyQuil was here in the States. Nib, I love the I learned from you, you learned from us mentality here on CrossFire. But Nib, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I thought he was saying like he's tired, so he's taking some NyQuil, and I thought, oh, NyQuil, is that like code for like illegal cocaine or something?
No.
No, it's the nighttime sneezing, sniveling, right? Coughing, BRAP,
gotcha.
It's nighttime cough syrup.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha. So in the UK, our popular one is Calpol. It's called Calpol.
What is it called?
NyQuil. Calpol.
Oh,
Calpor?
Cal sounds wild.
That's wild, Eric.
Not Calpol. Cal CAL Paul POL.
Calpol. Okay, so to me that sounds like some fancy designer drug, that you would get like at a rave in Ibiza, somewhere like
Maybe we started off as that. I don't know.
Hey, you want a hit of this Calpol?
You don't have.
Yeah, like me and Cuts are gonna go see Tiesto, and someone comes up to us and says, "You want some Calpol?" Like, it's.
Yes.
We're even though I'm in the future, we're still stuck on the old Robitussin. So.
Oh, you're in the Tussin. That's great. That worked. Listen, you put that on anything. That'll work all the time, Dan.
Oh, we have Robitussin here too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tussin's always the go-to. It's like Chris Rock said.
That's right.
You break your bone, pour some Tussin on it.
Put some Tussin on it. Absolutely. Great, Nib. Great to have you here. The great BRAP is here, by the way, guys. This is a miracle, by the way. BRAP. Unfortunately, we love the BRAP 9 p.m. Eastern, of course, on Wednesday nights. BRAP wasn't feeling so well. I said, BRAP, do me a favor. Whatever you got to do, just do it and get on the show. He goes, all right, I'll see what I can do for you. So the great BRAP is here. BRAP, we miss you on the show. It's been almost a month.
I know. It's crazy, Mooch. What I've realized is baseball is never really over.
No, it's not. No, it isn't.
And so that's kind of why I haven't been here. And then I was, I didn't think I was going to be here tonight. I was still under the weather. And, I saw the great panel that you assembled here tonight. Yes. And, I was just like, okay, like I need to down some NyQuil. And
well, you sound great, BRAP. I'm not just saying that because you made the show. I mean, you sound great.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I still feel like crap. So I'm just happy to be here. I was really upset that I couldn't do the BRAP show last night. Haven't really played any video games either.
BRAP, anybody that follows you know that there's BRAP on Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, sometimes Sunday evening, and once and again a BRAP rant on Mondays. So you never know. I mean, over the holiday, you had more BRAP podcasts. That was amazing.
That's
I was like,
why
he's going again.
How many different shows you do?
That might be true, Nib. You might be onto something. That's probably why I'm not feeling well. I mean, but I will be doing a BRAP on Saturday, like probably early afternoon, I'm thinking. So
there you go, folks.
I'll definitely be doing a show this weekend.
Put that on your radars. All right, let's get through these intros. The great Eric Cuts for the win. Erica, by the way, I always tell an audience, they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I had to have my people reach out to Erica's people, okay? This took a while to make happen. Right. It was, this is a working in the...
My secretary slipped me the note that you called. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. we had her in the green room. Whatever she wanted, she could get. We got to get her on the show. Erica, welcome back to CrossFire. Great to have you here tonight. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great night tonight. How you doing this evening?
Good. I know we've been meaning for me to come on the past couple weeks because of Elden Ring, and I had obligations, so finally I'm here, and it should be a good time. I feel like these intros were probably the most unique intros I've been a part of because we had the Ghost of War.
The Ghost of War. I mean, listen.
Ghost of War. I don't even know how that started, and then now BRAP on this Calpol, and it's just crazy. It's crazy.
It's wild. It's wild. But listen, I gotta tell you, I love the intros. This is what happens here, and I'll tell you, they always say you never know who's listening to a show. If anybody from Sony's listening right now, I guarantee you they're already talking about Ghosts of War somewhere. I guarantee you that's already in a drawing board somewhere happening. The great Death Singer, hope you get 5 or 10% finder's fee for that. The great David Faulkner is with us too. The community's accountant is with us. David, how you doing tonight, buddy? Or as I should say, pardon me, he's in Australia. How's the middle of your morning, early afternoon?
Mid-morning. It's cold, wet, miserable day outside, but you can't have fine weather all the time. We made it to Friday. Friday is a lovely day to be a part of. Yeah, no, doing all right. Been a bit under the weather, pardon the pun, but yeah, we're getting through it. Our busy season is July, August for us accountants down in this neck of the woods. So keeping busy and trying to stay out of trouble.
Well, David, you're on CrossFire, so you're already in trouble. Trust me right now. Great to have you with us here. The great T-Rock says, BRAP is on the sauce. Look out. Shout out to T-Rock. The great Jimmy Harrison is here. Always good to see you, bros. Guys, the Super Chat's working. It's a miracle. Thank you guys so much for the Super Chats. I appreciate it. And also the great Gamers, Gamut. Gamut, I don't know if you're on yet or not. Gamut, how you doing this evening?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Well, great to have you, buddy. Another gentleman that's been very difficult to get on the show because of his work schedule. But Gamut, great to have you here tonight.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Glad I could drop in and catch up on what's been going on in the scene lately.
Well,
you guys are going to have to enlighten me a little bit.
Well, we're going to let you. Oh, believe me, tonight's the night for you to show up. We'll catch you right up there, Gamut. Guys, it's the dog days of summer. Let's get started. Erica, I like to put one of the newest guests on the hot seat first and foremost. So let's start with this. And it's a broad topic, Erica. It just came out, of course, basically this week here. Xbox Game Pass increases prices. And I know that may be something that does bother you. Maybe it doesn't. Bothers gamers. Maybe it doesn't. But the one thing I thought that was interesting was how they removed the day and date from one of their tiers. And now that day and date for console gamers, not PC, but for console gamers is now at the $20 value starting in September. I wanted to just get your initial overall feelings on your thoughts on when you read that. You were like, is that something you were like, okay, I saw that coming, I don't mind? Or is this something where you're like, geez, it's 2024, it's July, we've only had Hellblade 2, we know how that did, and you're going to raise the price on what merit? So Erica, where were you when this news came out? How do you feel?
Honestly, I saw it, I saw the news, and I just thought, okay, this was something we predicted, right? It was easy to call. It didn't surprise me. But that removal of the day one for that tier, initially I was like, yeah, they being sneaky. They trying to get rid of it slowly. Like if I put my tinfoil hat, I kind of look at it like maybe this is their way to kind of go in that direction.
Yeah.
Eliminating it altogether. But I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. I think the tier thing is a little confusing for a lot of people. And even though they say it's not, it can be. There's just so many tiers and so many things going on. And then PC is kind of the best out of them because they're not losing the day one.
That's right.
They're going up, like $2, I think it's going up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But
and Erica, I know it gets criticism because it's like missing games that are on console. That's kind of the hang up that one has. But ultimately, they get most of the main games on there. So it's not like PC is that bad off.
Erica, so you play on PC, you play on, and I know you do, but Erica, the one thing about the Xbox Game Pass on PC that I have a problem with isn't even the lack of the games that are shared on console, because like you said, the majority of the big name ticket games are there, so that's fine. But it's the store and just the way that the games play on that, it just doesn't always play well. It doesn't
Xbox app?
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty awful.
Yeah,
because I've had PC Game Pass for a minute. I think I had it for a good year until I recently canceled it. But dealing with that app is pretty crappy. But after I get the game installed, it's fine after that. It's just getting there. Sometimes it doesn't want to install correctly. It's slow. It closes on me or something like that. But other than that, once it is installed, it's pretty much okay. I've always appreciated PC Game Pass. Like a lot of people think I hate Xbox now and I'm a pony and all this stuff, but in the background I'm actually using it. I recently played that Another Crab's Treasure game, which I thought was really good, and I took advantage of the Game Pass for that. And there might be a game in the future I do the same, but right now I feel like I don't need it. So me seeing the prices increase doesn't really affect me right now. But in the future, it could, especially if this continues. And the more people are complacent, like, oh, it's no big deal, it's fine, it's still a good value. The more that Microsoft sees that, they're going to do it again. So, it's just one of those things that's like, it is what it is. There are price hikes in everything, right? Whether it's Netflix or this, it's going to happen. But them removing the day one, that's where that's the worst part for that initial tier. Yeah, because eventually you're going to want a game day one, and then what are you going to do? You're going to have to bump up your price. And there's, it is what it is.
I think what you just said in that statement that really held a lot of weight is that all of us now are a victim of subscriptions across the board. And the one thing that I think all of us are sitting here, and listen, if you don't agree with me, that's fine, guys. But I think that, we sit there, you have HBO Max, you have Hulu, you have Netflix, and Apple TV. It doesn't matter what it is. And don't get me wrong, every once and again, a shining star comes through. But because content now is being consumed so fast, and in gaming, it's a bit different. Erica, I kind of feel like the problem right now is, and we're sensing it this generation. I know somebody's going to pull out well, come on, Mooch, Halo got an 87 on Meta. That's fine. That's fine. But realistically, a lot of the games that are coming out, Redfall, Starfield didn't come out as big as they wanted it to be. Hellblade 2, the games are just getting pushed out there, and they're going out there, and I don't even feel like it warranted the price tag that we were paying today. And now, Eric, I guess my question to you before I go to Nib here is just, now you said, Eric, well, maybe down the road I will resubscribe. But if the quality ends up being mediocre across the board, and it isn't something that's enlightening to the casual gamer as well as the hardcore gamer, are you that enthralled to go and pay even more money for maybe something that's still not great?
Probably not. And a big reason that I feel like I wouldn't is because if the price gets high enough to where I'm like, you know what, for an extra $10, I could just buy this game. Right. Because there's gonna be some indie game that comes along that's like $30 or something. And I might want to support that developer, because I'm very much about that. I'm not one of those that tells you what to do with your money, but for me personally, I like to support the developers I love. Even if I get a game to review and I get it free, I'll sometimes pay it forward or pay it back in the way of like gifting other people the same game. I did that during Christmas time. It's just something I like to do. So when there is a developer I really love and I want to support them, I want to see sequels, I want to see more support for their games, I'm going to pay money to them more so than think about a subscription. A subscription to me is like, oh, that game looks kind of cool, but I don't want to invest all of my money, so I'll just try it. Right?
Yes.
So that's what I mean by that. It's like there might be a game to come along to where it's like, oh, I might want to try that. But if the price keeps going up, it's like, well, I might as well just buy the damn thing, So it's going to be a case by case thing. I can't say for sure and for certain.
Right.
But right now, I'm not really interested in going back to it, especially now with the price jump.
And I truly can't.
I mean, that's going to be really personal. That's going to be kind of personal and subjective, right? Depends on what you like to play and stuff. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they'll be okay as long as this upcoming slate is actually good, and they step in and do some Sony like style quality control, and they make sure it's ready to go out the door. And I don't think the price change will be that big of a deal. As long as the quality starts, as long as Indiana Jones is good, and if we start having games that people actually want to play and that are having a good time with, I think that's going to matter. And then I don't think anybody is going to care about the price after that. And as far as the PC people go, I mean, they're just a different breed. You can't really charge them for online. You can't charge, they're just going to not do it and just pirate your game instead. Like, it's just, I think they have to treat them a little differently. And then as a console gamer, that kind of feels shitty, right? We're getting the short end of the stick here.
Damn it! I think what you're saying is there's truth to what you're saying, unfortunately. And shout out to BRAP. BRAP. Oh, somebody's got. I don't know what that. Oh, sorry, guys. That's actually
what was that?
That was the music coming from. BRAP just sent me an awesome video game chronicle. Sorry, guys, that was an advertisement on the ad. It's basically, well, I didn't think that would play, but Microsoft insists Game Pass prices will not increase. Now, I want to get to that in a second. Because, Gamut, what you said, I'm not taking one word away from that. Mm-hmm. But the point of the matter is that you have to have the quality. And I think up until right now, I'm only speaking for July 2024. And if you guys really want to stick to your guns and say, okay, Halo gave us that, or I got that out of Forza Horizon 5, if you think that has attributed to the $204 a year you've been paying for Ultimate Game Pass, go ahead, Nick.
2021 though. We're in 2000.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you do have a point, Mooch, and I will just come right out and say it. I am personally not subscribed to Game Pass. I'm like a hot and a cold, like Starfield was the last time I subscribed, and I put in a good 60, 70 hours into Starfield. So, unless there's, when I'm done, I immediately turn that bad boy off. I'm tired of the subscription sneaky payment crap. So, or that's just me forgetting, really. Mm-hmm. So, you're right. They don't have, it doesn't have enough pull to keep me invested every month. That's for sure. I will absolutely agree with that.
What do you think, Nib?
Mooch. Yeah, no, it's an interesting one because obviously we've discussed the business side of things and the numbers and the growth and the metrics and them falling behind on growth. So, we've discussed that before, right? And it's pretty well known, or at least I hope it is to many people. But from a business perspective, we kind of knew a price increase was coming because at the current rate, the trajectory falling behind all your growth targets, something has to give, right? If you don't have the volume, you have to make it up from the smaller subscriber count that you already have, which is what I think this essentially is boils down to is if we can't get the expansion or the growth elsewhere, then we'll just take more from the the more devout enthusiasts who are already subscribed, right? Now, I will say, so on that side of things, I did expect a price increase, and there's been rumors about them dropping the date stuff because of the business and financial ramifications. But I will say the other side of the spectrum, it did surprise me a little bit as well because in their rebuttal to the FTC, they put, and I've got the quote here. Here, the acquisition would benefit consumers by making Call of Duty available on Microsoft's Game Pass on the day it is released on console, with no price increase for the service based on the acquisition. Now, obviously, you could say, "Oh, this price increases not as a result of the acquisition," but I would say it most probably is, especially with Call of Duty going to it.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's weird because
that's exactly what this is about.
Yeah, exactly. So they've kind of gone back on one of the fundamental promises they made to the FTC. So in that regard, I was interested that they announced the price increase so soon, even before the new Call of Duty has even dropped, right? So I don't know what the fallback would be from the FTC, because as far as I understand, there is still some stuff going on in the background, so that will be interesting. But yeah, in that regard, I'm surprised that they immediately announced this price increase, and why it is only incremental. It all adds up, right? Because I've had Game Pass for since 2017. But in truth, I haven't really used it that much.
The same here.
And truthfully, if the price changed today, I wouldn't actually renew. But because we have this like buffer period, this interim period where we can still subscribe on the current price, today I bought 4 years worth. So I picked up 4 years worth on a really good deal with a voucher code. I think it ended up costing me £88 per annum instead of 160 or 180 or whatever it is. So great price. I think it was £360 altogether. So I'm kind of locked in for 4 years, but only because I hope that their first party cadence is sort of finally over its rut, and we'll get a sort of
Nib, let me ask you a question, because do you have a gaming PC?
I wouldn't call it so. It's very old, so it hasn't had an upgrade in a long time. So that's why I don't really use it. Like if my Series X is more powerful than my PC, that's why I don't refer to it as a gaming PC anymore. Even though
just to ride along with what you're saying, and I appreciate you being so candid and telling us. So that would mean to me. So if you are invested for 4 more years, and this is a valid question because I'm actually listening because I'm in the same boat as you. Not that mine actually runs out in 2025, but hear me out. So you just said it yourself. If your Series X is powerful enough, there's rumors out that 2026 is when Xbox is supposed to be having their new hardware. If you're invested for 4 more years, you're not going to be playing on PC. Will you be picking up new Xbox hardware to continue enjoying the Game Pass service that you've now locked yourself into till 2028?
So the reason I've kind of timed it in the way I have is I anticipate that will take me to the end of the generation, but I probably won't pick up the next Xbox hardware. It will be the first time I ever haven't bought an Xbox. Every generation I've had an Xbox, because I feel like their kind of prioritization of the PC platform over Xbox is getting to that stage where maybe, I could just save the money and build a PC hardware, get better, gaming experiences. And also on the other side, let's just say some of the reasons that I left PC gaming to begin with, as far as I understand, things are a bit more fluid now on the PC side with drivers and upkeep and everything like that. So I'm hoping by the time I do transition, it's more of a console-like experience, pick up and play, and with premeditated settings and automatic drivers and all the rest of it. So, but I'm not ruling it out. Maybe I will buy an Xbox, but I've left it open because I'm not really convinced with the current trajectory of their strategies.
So BRAP, I know that whenever BRAP does his intro, I know that BRAP's got something to say. BRAP, we got this super chat that I'm going to give you the mic. So shout out to the great Full Sweat Tryhard. He says, lame pass. He says, best deal in gaming, said no one ever. He said, what a ripoff. He says, why spend $250 to rent games you don't want when you can buy and own 3.5 AAA games for that price? Love the show. Welcome back. Full Sweat, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Also, shout out to the great Mash who just donated 10 memberships to the channel here. I appreciate that, Mash. Great to see you as well. BRAP, what do you think? You've heard some really good arguments here from Erica, Gamut, and Nib, and then after you, I definitely want to hear what Singer's got to say, and David. But BRAP, what do you think about all this?
I don't have an issue per se with the actual price increase. I get it. It's happening everywhere with subscription services. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I do think what's to the point that Nib brought up with the FTC, that article I sent you.
Yes.
To me, this is another instance or example of Microsoft saying one thing and then walking themselves into stepping on the lawn rake again. And where they say this to the CMA too, that they dismiss any suggestion that Xbox or that the acquisition would lead to the rise of Xbox Game Pass prices. And they also said that that raising prices in itself would be counterproductive because it would increase subscriber churn rates. So this is Microsoft saying this.
Right.
And of course, what do? They say one thing, they do another. And this has kind of been an issue that I've had with them and how they effectively communicate their strategy.
Yeah.
They just do things and say too much, I think. I think a lot of times they should just keep their mouth shut and just focus on delivering a good product like Nintendo and Sony do. They don't say much. That's okay. Let your product speak for you. Don't just stop. Stop with the over communicating. Stop with trying to look like the good guy on social media. I think clearly they've pulled the reins back on that now, with interacting with people on social media as much as they used to. So there's that piece, but the thing that I don't really care for per se is that they are kind of I hate to use the word force, but I think there's a better word. Logic and I were discussing this yesterday, and he used the word strong arming. I like that word better than force. But they're kind of strong arming the Xbox console base, into Game Pass Ultimate, where I think Erica mentioned it used to be part of Xbox Xbox Game Pass on the console. You got day and date, and that was part of their marketing. Get it day and date. There wasn't any tier or anything like that, and now that day and date feature's been paywalled.
Yeah.
And
yes, it has.
To me, that's okay. Now you're kind of, and I get why they're doing it. Like Nib mentioned, I mean, they're not hitting their growth rates. They're not hitting those revenue numbers they need to hit. The 69
billion. The pressure's coming from up top, from the highest level.
Absolutely.
And maybe before the acquisition, during the trial, it wasn't quite so yet, because they hadn't quite spent all that money. So I think you're seeing that. I think that's a part of it too, right? So
yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's the. I think that we've heard this. I mean, the deals, the economics of the deals changed. What's happening internally at Microsoft and Xbox, and we told people during the acquisition, they're like, oh well, they got $69 billion in cash, they got all this money, they can outspend Sony. I'm like, guys, be careful what you wish for. You guys walked yourself into a price hike. Number one, consumers should never advocate for price hikes. Number one, understand that companies at the end of the day have fiduciary responsibilities to their shareholders to make money. When you spend $69 billion, okay, at cash, that's not free money. You need to earn that money back, and Falky would attest to this. Not just break even, but earn it plus. Make more money on top of that investment. And on top of that, you're not just spending $69 billion in cash. That's the other thing that people didn't realize. You're also the business is also incurring the operating costs to run Activision Blizzard King now. And that is all the cost of human capital, all the cost of fringe benefits. Like people just didn't think about those things, and you need to think about those things because those things influence the decisions that businesses make and how they choose to charge their consumers because they're in the business to make money at the end of the day. And when they incur more costs in their books, they need to figure out ways to make more money. And one way to do that is to squeeze as many pennies as you can, in this case, out of your loyal subscriber base. And that's why they're doing this. I think Nib mentioned that. Like, you know, they gotta hit those revenue numbers now. And they're gonna squeeze more pennies out of their loyal consumer base who are going to pay the additional $3 or whatever it is for Game Pass Ultimate to try to hit those revenue targets. And so that's the issue that I have with it. Kind of that strong arming of it trying to incentivize people into Game Pass Ultimate. Obviously, I think what's interesting, what's funny is they said that a price increase is counterintuitive to Game Pass because it would increase more churn. So that's kind of interesting that they said that and they're doing the increase. But I understand why. I think to what Gamut's saying, like I think Amy Hood's like, hey, you know what? Like, where's my money? Like, it's time to pay me. Yeah. And the other thing too is for me at least. For me, I'm not speaking for anyone else. For me, BRAP the consumer, like I'm going to have more eyeballs on their production output because if they're going to raise the price, and what is it a year now, Nip, for Game Pass in US dollars?
$240 US. Yeah.
Now it's $240 now, right? $240
starting in September. Starting in September. So for Ultimate.
Yeah. For Ultimate, so $240 a year. Okay. That's what I'll be paying for in the future. Now I'm not paying that right now, but I'll be paying that in the future. They need a great cadence of releases. And I see people saying, oh, well, they're going to have all these games. That's fine. But all these games need to be good. And for me, perhaps the consumer, I'm not speaking for anyone else because I have different taste than other consumers. I'm aware of that. But for me as a consumer and my taste, they need to start delivering regular AAA games on a consistent basis that are good and great.
Yeah.
You know,
thank you for saying. I was just saying that in the chat to Andre Clay. He says, "Aren't PlayStation dudes the one who always brag about wanting to pay for games?" The thing is, the games that are showing up on PlayStation. First of all, no one's excited to pay more. Second of all, the games are good that come out on PlayStation. You know, even if you said, "Well," I mean, it doesn't matter if you're talking about. Right? It doesn't matter if you're talking about Stellar Blade. You're talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Helldivers 2. Like, pick your poison.
That was cheap as well, by the way.
And that was only $39.99. That's right. And I mean, same thing goes for Concord, which is another topic tonight. We'll talk about that in a moment. But BRAP, that's
Mooch, and if you're going to call it Ultimate, I need Ultimate gaming experiences on the regular.
Hold up, BRAP, real quick. Your mic is peaking. Like, I just want to. You're kind of.
Sorry.
I lowered you a bit, BRAP, but I don't know. You might have yours up. And
Gamut's a little loud too, but he's not peaking though.
I'll knock.
I'm sorry. That's because my throat's sore, so I'm trying to talk like louder. Yeah,
I'm looking out for the chat.
Thank you, Erica.
I was just going to say like two quick points. Like one, the pricing now definitely is outside the bracket of casuals because remember a few, I don't know if it was a few podcasts ago, we were breaking down the data about how many games per year the average consumer buys, as in mass consumer, and it worked out at like 1.4 or 1.6 games or something across the course of a generation. The Game Pass Ultimate price now is I think it's like 3 point something games or something, right? 3.6 games or 3. So that's already beyond the scope of how many they would buy per annum, a casual gamer. So it definitely is now the enthusiast gamer who will appeal to more. And the second thing I was going to say is it's weird because it kind of reframes all their marketing and previous marketing, because if like the Game Pass, the Xbox showcase they just had, every few instances they're like, oh, you know, play it day on Game Pass. But now it's not actually day on Game Pass because Game Pass Standard, which is the de facto default version, will not have those things day. So
actually, hang on, Nib. The question with that is, what is Game Pass Ultimate? It's Game Pass, so it's still day one on Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's
but
just not day one on it.
Sure, but if Ubisoft went on stage and say they said, look, you can get all these outfits and all these extras with the game day one, but they were referring to the deluxe ultimate supercalifragilistic expedition version, then we would say that's unfair, right? Because you're basically advertising the premium version features where you should really be talking about
that's a very good point. I see a lot of people in the chat that are defending it, saying, wait, only a $3 increase is not that big of a deal. But it's not a $3 increase, because there was people that were paying $10.99 a month before. Or, guys, correct me, what was the one that was, I was Ultimate, so I don't know, the $10.99 a month or $12.99 a month that was paying for that, and they were getting it. Now it's $19.99 a month. So for some people, maybe not for you that went from Ultimate to Ultimate, but if you went from the standard now to the ultimate, you're paying way more than $3 more a month.
And that was my point, Mooch, earlier about the strong arming. It's like you're now, in order to get what you're used to having, paying less, you're now having to pay more, significantly more than if you're already an ultimate, right? If you only have an Xbox console. And that's kind of where I had an issue. And I think to Nib's point about the marketing, it used to be day and date Game Pass day one. That's not the case anymore. It's going to have to say day and date, Game Pass Ultimate. And
not even for core, not for standard or for core.
Isn't this all just a little convoluted? Like, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking of like the grandma or the mom, like that knows nothing, walking into the store, like Xbox Core, Xbox, I don't know. It's a little much, man. It's a little much.
Xbox Game Pass PC. They've always had this problem. Even the naming conventions of the console. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, these guys, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company, and they probably have some of the brightest people doing this stuff. But I always think, as someone who used to work in marketing, I'm like, what the hell? Who comes up with these naming conventions?
Because if they're aiming for the casuals, they're sure not. That's not the way to go about it, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you're aiming for the casuals don't care. All they care about is FIFA, Madden, and Call of Duty. That's all they care about every year. They care about Fortnite. They care about GTA Online. They don't, like, the majority of them ain't gonna care about no Indiana Jones or Vowed or any of these games. They just want their Call of Duty and their Madden and their 2K and call it good. So, I mean,
Blaze, you literally scared me.
I was like, what?
Scared me.
That's my
looking down.
That's Blaze.
What is that?
I was like, what? I didn't know Blaze did. I was like, what is that?
I just seen your message, Mooch. Yeah, that's my little intro. You know what I mean?
Blaze, I love it, buddy. Blaze, welcome to the show, buddy. I don't know if you've been catching what everybody's saying here, but I want to get your take. I want to get David's take here on. Yes, please, and the great, of course, that singer. Yes. Go ahead, Singer.
The thing with the Game Pass is, I mean, it really doesn't affect me either way. As I said in the pre-show, I think this is just more for the people currently there, monetize the people you already have subscribed to Game Pass. Because the amount of new customers coming in, well, for one, you would need a console. The consoles aren't selling, right? So the amount of new people coming to the platform is low. So you're going to have to monetize what you already have, because you're not going to get a huge influx of new people. So you have that problem. PC is where you're growing, but PC is a completely different market to console. Like, you cannot compare the two. It's like water and oil. Like, they are just two completely separate entities, even though they're both in gaming. For example, like, I take the sub on Game Pass. It's like, I'll try a game, but if I'm excited for the game, I'd buy it. But I love the option that the sub service gives. It does come with its downfalls, but let's be real. How much did I pay for Assassin's Creed Valhalla day one? 15. How much did I pay for Jedi Survivor day one? 15. How much will I pay for Assassin's Creed Shadows day one? Ultimate Edition? 15. Shout out to sub-services. Fantastic.
Yeah, but majority of people are not playing all of those games. So
and also that's a PC exclusive. You don't get that on console anyway. So it's just the whole Game Pass narrative is kind of, we know it's doing what it's doing in the metrics. Everyone keeps bringing it to light on Twitter. There's tons of articles written about the economics of how it's going, how much money it's making, what they're losing, how it's not profitable, etc. Right? So they have to do something. We knew, everyone in the game, all of us knew that after the ABK deal, the price was going up. Right? Call of Duty is going to cost you. So you throw Call of Duty in there, you raise the price a little bit. Okay, cool. Now everything is going up in price anyway, and all the other services are going to go up in price. I expect Ubisoft Plus to go up in price. I expect Origin to go up in price. I expect PlayStation to go up in price again at some point. Nintendo will go up in price at some point.
But the thing is that they'll go up in price, but they're not the focus here. And this is what I think a lot of people have been saying on podcasts over the past 48 hours. Microsoft has moved their customers to this service, whereas Nintendo, they're not saying you have to have their service. PlayStation's not saying. Plenty of people that play on PlayStation don't have PS Plus. I looked down my friends list. Not everybody has the plus next to their name. They don't. I mean, it's just not a. Go ahead, bro.
Mooch, to your point, the difference here is that yes, I think we all agree that the subscription service, like they're going to raise prices. We get that. And like I said earlier, I don't have an issue with the price increase. It's the way they're strong-arming the console base into Ultimate to pay even more money, and also the fact that, to your point, Mooch, it's a core feature. It's a core selling point of the ecosystem. That's not the case with Nintendo or PlayStation. Their subscription services are just additive. They're not at the core of the business strategy or the core of what they're marketing to their consumer base. So I mean that's the big difference between those two, and I think I don't think anyone's arguing that subscriptions aren't going to go up. They are. I just think it's a little more nuanced than just that.
I mean, yeah, it is a good point, and just removing the games from standard and putting them in ultimate. It's like you want the perks of having day one games. You will subscribe to Ultimate, and
absolutely
people who enjoy that will subscribe to Ultimate because they still want to keep those perks. Now, if all you care about is paying for online, that's where core comes in, right? Because to play most multiplayer games, you have to have pay for online if you're on console. So that's just for people who want to pay to play online, because you'll need it for like Call of Duty, you'll need it for NBA, etc. Right? Then standard, because console's going away, right? So it'll be replaced with standard. Standard, you get the Game Pass library, but you just don't get the day one games. So it's like, okay, you love using Game Pass, but you don't necessarily care about the day one releases. That's the tier for you. So it's just another option. And then you put the best perks behind the Ultimate, which is what most subscription services do. The highest tier is supposed to give you the most perks, right? So
let me ask this question, Blaze. I don't know how long Blaze can stay. Blaze, I want to ask you. You just heard what that singer said, right? Now listen, you got your ear to the ground.
Oh, bullshit!
I was just gonna say.
I'm just playing that singer.
Hey, Blaze, I saw your nose come into the chat before.
Okay, and I seen your stomach come into the chat too, brother.
Oh man, I'll tell you.
Okay. Anyway, I got to bounce out on that note. I got to bounce out.
Hey, Gammon, thank you, buddy.
Is this the Roasting Fire podcast? Did I miss something?
Hey.
So Blaze,
I'm here all night, brother.
Blaze, what do you think about this?
That singer makes points with his arguments, and people are gonna, a lot of people are gonna want the Ultimate. But did you really think you were gonna, all these people that DM me saying we're gonna get Call of Duty for free while you got to pay for it? I just, it's just funny to look at shit now, and like. I think everybody has said this. All these people coming out and say, "I told you Game Pass was going to increase the price." I've been called like. This wasn't sustainable. This was eventually going to happen.
That's right.
Like everybody could see this coming. Like, so, if you're out here saying, I told you so, like, everybody knew Game Pass was going to increase the price. It's not sustainable. You know what I mean? It's just
but
not.
Blaze, do you think it's shocking that it happened before we even got one Call of Duty? We didn't even get the old ones in Game Pass yet. The old ones aren't even, like, nothing is in Game Pass.
3's coming now.
What has been, well, that's the rumor. Is it confirmed? I thought it was a rumor.
I think I think it's confirmed now.
Well, okay, that's fine.
I have to go back and look,
you could, but let's even say that's true. They've had it for a while now. There's nothing in Game Pass that's really Activision driven. You know what I mean? Like, why don't those games aren't in there, and they're already hitting us with a price hike before the new Call of Duty. So it was like
that's that Call of Duty tax,
right? Call of Duty tax. But you know what's funny, Blaze?
Another thing.
Go ahead, Nip.
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna say the other thing Death Singer said about Game Pass Core, if for just the people who play Call of Duty, if you just want to play online, that's going up to $75 a year as well, or $120 if you pay per month, right? So even from the people who aren't even going to subscribe to Game Pass for the catalog of games, they're still going to have to pay more anyway. So they are in different ways clawing back the money.
Well, but then
Mooch,
again,
look how many people are look how many companies are demanding money from your wallet every month. Just think about how much shit you're subs to, in terms of just Netflix, HBO, whatever you want, whatever you're sub to, whatever you're into, OnlyFans, whatever you're into. There's a lot of competition out there. So like that thing was saying, like you guys were saying, Xbox's main drive is Game Pass. That's the thing they push. You're almost stupid if you're not using Game Pass if you're playing on Xbox. You know what I mean? And when it comes to the other companies, it's just if you want Plus, get it. Like you said, Mooch said a bunch of people don't got PlayStation Plus.
No, they don't.
A lot of people don't.
And if
you know what I mean?
And if you get Plus, they actually still throw you. Listen, I know every month we're all critical. I'm critical too. Not every month is it a home run, but every month
they're decent games.
They're decent
I'm not even bullshitting. They're decent games.
They're decent games. And if you're
Remnant
hardcore, you go, right? Remnant and
there.
Erica, you commented on that too. That's a good game.
Yep. That's a banger,
huge
right?
get.
Crisis Core remake as well.
And I know Remnant 2 is, people are going to say, the first thing people say when I say that, they go, Remnant 2 is already, I think it was or is in Game Pass. That's fine. But what I'm saying is PS Plus is substantially cheaper than Game Pass, and you get those games every month. And they're decent games every month. Like, I think they showed Cricket is coming to Game Pass this month. Who cares? They did. That was like a legitimate thing. So, I swear they really did.
Yeah,
wow.
Cricket 24. It's true.
Yeah,
Cricket
so-
24.
Cricket, the fucking sport.
The sport.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, cricket the sport.
Oh, God.
The thing Nib said. Thing is, the counterpart to you have to pay $70 for core.
Yeah.
But how much is the lowest tier of PS Plus, which you need to play online games? You'll find it's near enough in the same ballpark, so you're paying either way for online.
Yeah.
That's right.
Similar,
No, you're right. It's similar. It is
So-
similar. I think it's a little
$60,
less,
right?
but it's still similar.
No,
enough
it
to
went
where
up, right? It went up because they did the price increase.
It went up last
I
year.
thought it went
I
up
think.
from.
Last year it went up,
okay.
I believe.
That
Yes.
Yeah, it went up.
Mhm.
Because they increased the price of all their tiers last year. So it's like, you're paying either way, and you shouldn't be paying for online either way. Like, both Sony and Microsoft are swindling you, but you have to accept it because you're on console.
When did it go up? Because April 2024, I'm seeing $60 for PS Plus.
I think you could
I
still.
thought it went up from 50 to 60.
And if you get the yearly,
wasn't it a $10 increase?
That sounds
it was a
about right.
$10. Yeah, and if you play yearly, it's cheaper too than doing it by month.
Yeah.
So that's the
Game
thing
Pass-
too. Like
Yeah.
Microsoft's not even giving you a yearly option, cheaper option.
Did we mention too about the stacking that they're limiting that as well?
Yeah,
That's right.
They're limiting
That's
stacking.
why
yeah.
I'm.
13
That's why I'm
months, I
stacking
believe.
now. Yeah, that's why I'm.
Yeah,
trying to stack
do
now.
it now. If you intend to keep Game Pass, do it now.
But I think that's what they're hoping you do. You know what I mean? They want you to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Watch
I
the
don't know,
league.
man. I just
them.
think this shit was
Lots of
inevitable. This
engagement.
shit was gonna happen, bro.
Wait, it
You know.
says PlayStation Plus Essential 12-month subscription increased from $59.99 to $79
Oh, so
in the
20.
United States.
Oh, it's $20, not $10.
$20.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the same
Okay.
price as
So
core.
it's actually more. It's more. It's $5
It's more than core. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's more
it's
than core,
$5 more.
yeah. So
And gaming these days is too expensive.
PlayStation
Like,
is
I mean,
avenue as well.
Yeah, it's
So-
too expensive. Like,
So if you're shouting from the rooftops that you shouldn't be paying that for core, but you play on
Yeah.
PlayStation,
I
you
would
need
just say to
pay.
everyone like who does want to have these subs, do every like trick you can do, right? So I did the Game Pass Gold trick, I did the PS Now trick. I think I've got PS Plus till 2027 or 2028. And now I've done, like you can still get deals like right now.
But,
Blaze said, if you.
The thing is, though, Nip, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the one thing that, Death Singer, that's the one thing that I love about the internet and I can't stand it. It's like, okay, well, wait a minute, let's change the subject drastically over to to PlayStation Plus and compare it to Core. The entire model of Game Pass, which is what we said earlier in the show, was get your games day and date, day one on Game Pass. You cannot get those on Core anymore.
Yeah, but Mooch, what are you getting for being on Core?
Right.
At least on PlayStation Plus, you're getting 3 free games a month.
You get the 3 games.
You're not getting that on Core.
No, on Core, you get a set of games out of Game Pass, but they're a random what?
Not the day ones.
Not the day ones. And that's the thing that we have to focus on here because everyone wants
that's a big one right there, though.
That is a big one. The fact that you don't get the day and date, that was what Game Pass was sold to us on, and we always divert to these other like.
I have a question about that. It's a dumb question. So let's say Call of Duty. They don't get it day one. Do they eventually get it like some odd months later, or how does that work?
I don't think that was specified yet.
It's rumored. It's rumored 6 to 12 months after release that those games. Yeah, but it hasn't been confirmed. But that's the rumor. 6 to 12 months.
And wait, so Game Pass is not even Game Pass anymore? Is that what you're telling me?
No, there's different tiers. Like standard, like the monthly drops into Game Pass, the games that get added. You still get that with standard, but like Stalker 2. Coming day one, you won't get that. You'll get.
I know, but that's the main. That's the main. Like for me, every time I'm probably paying for Game Pass right now. I guarantee Ultimate. The thing is, that's the main driving point. Is like, you know what I mean? You sign up, you get a cheap deal, and you get to play that game for. You know what I mean? Like, and now you're telling people that, hey, you know, this ain't good enough anymore. When it's been literally what people signed up for Game Pass for, bro. It just don't make any sense.
But the thing is, the people that enjoy the service will go up to the Ultimate tier anyway, because they find so much value in what they get through Game Pass. Like, if you speak to people...
How much is Ultimate?
It's going to be... It's $16.99 now. It'll be $19.99 a month in September.
How much monthly, though?
$20.
$20.
Starting
at $20 to play a game day one.
It was 10 before, right?
No, it was 15.
Or 15, sorry, 15, yeah.
No, it went up to $2, I think, right?
No, $3. $3. It went up $3.
It went around there, yeah.
I think the thing is, it's kind of a bit more because before you had standard Game Pass, then they got rid of that, and then you had Core, which doesn't give you day-date games. So it's kind of actually a lot more of an increase because the people who would have subbed, you know, like however many months ago to Game Pass regular, not Core, just Game Pass, that they can't do that anymore. They'll have to go on to Ultimate. So I don't know how many people were on that. I think Microsoft said majority of people are still on Ultimate. So maybe it won't be that many, but it will be really interesting. Like why really interesting to know is I think initially there'll be an influx of people like myself who like stack before the prices go up. But in 1 year or 2 years, I really would love to know what sort of subscriber growth they see.
Yeah. So now that I have you guys here, and I gotta give a shout out to Alex real quick. Oh no, Alex is here. Alex, he says, look at the PlayStation podcast panel. Come on, Alex. He says, just use Star Force Systems PC sponsor link and never pay for online again. Erica is the only real gamer here. I think he meant to say Erica and Mooch, but he left Mooch out for some reason. Shout out to you, right, Alex. Alex,
not
great
Blaze,
to have you here.
Blaze,
and what up,
Blaze?
Alex, I play double the games of you. I play beat more games than you, Alex. Check your Steam, brother. Don't do it to yourself.
See, here we go.
Blaze he's the Souls King too.
So. Yeah, I would never question Blaze's gaming credentials.
That's true.
Blaze,
that's right.
I wouldn't do that.
Shout out to great to have Nib here as well. Shout out to also to the great Jay Barry. Jay Barry trolling and I think doing the best out there. He says Xbox is the best box. Shout out to the great Jay Barry, everybody. I do want to say real quick, we have Nib here and we have Death Singer. You guys, listen, this is a rumor, and I even have it stated as so. Microsoft could stop pushing Xbox consoles in Europe, other regions. I just want to hear your thoughts on that. We see the sales, we see the numbers. Is that something that really is a big impact? I would originally say probably not as far as sales go, but I do think as far as the brand and as far as visibility of Xbox across the world, does that hurt it if that rumor ends up being true?
Go on, Destinger. I'll go after you.
And Dave, I want to ask David as well.
To hear your thoughts.
All right. So they're not doing too great in Europe. Sony's predominantly dominating in Europe right now, and I don't think that will change anytime soon. So if they look at the numbers and they realize we are doing absolutely horrible, then given that you're putting your games on PlayStation anyway, withdrawing from that market actually might not be a bad idea. because your games will be going to PlayStation, which is the #1 platform in Europe. So you're still getting the money. But if you have an almost non-existent presence anyway, what's the point being there? So you could just go, okay, well, the game's coming to PlayStation, so let's just withdraw. So I don't see it happening now. Next generation could possibly happen. It's, potential. But does it really affect much? Not really, because if I go down to the local game down by me, which is your equivalent of GameStop, the Nintendo in the one by me, Nintendo has 4 rows, PlayStation has 4 rows, Xbox has 1 row. So you can kind of see the writing on the wall there about what's popular, what's not. Like the last time I went to a midnight release was GTA 5 when it came out. And even back then, the majority of people queued up were looking for the PlayStation version. There was actually very few people who came out with the Xbox version. I did.
I know, but question, you don't think that's like a shitty mentality to have, like, hey, we're not doing well, so we're just going to pull out? Like, I feel like Xbox has done that this whole generation. Like, wave the white flag, we can't make these type of games, we can't compete, so why waste our time with it? That's that whole mentality, bro. Like, and I'm not trying to bust balls. Like, it is what it is.
No, you're right.
The thing is, you have to take into account, like, if your games are coming to PlayStation anyway, and you see, in America, they're actually doing something, right? So it makes sense. In Europe, if you're getting ass blasted, it's like, well, the games will be coming to PlayStation anyway. So what's the point in staying in there with a dwindling sales?
The point is a much bigger piece of the pie, because the thing is, for every consumer, if that transitions to PlayStation or doesn't buy an Xbox because of these business decisions, you lose your 30% cut on every single purchase they would have made on the Xbox platform. Same on Steam. So you're giving up this 30% margin. And the thing is, I don't know, I agree with Blaze. It's a bit of a defeatist mentality, and I think it's short-sighted, right? Because what is PlayStation doing right now? They don't have a big presence in UAE, China, whatever, like South Korea. They're building in India.
Africa.
They're building, with the China Hero project and all these other projects. Like, what they're trying to say is, okay, one day these will be emergent markets with huge investment in gaming. If not, they're already there, and we want to curate that. We want to be at the forefront of that. So just like Europe, where Nintendo dominated and PlayStation came in and sowed the seeds and did the right marketing, and now they have a huge presence in Europe. I think it's their biggest market, actually. And Europe as a whole is a massive gaming market. I think it's not that far behind the United States. So it's like, why would you give up? Why would you let up trying to have more prevalence in that region? Like, yes, I get it, you're not doing well right now, but I don't know, it's not like you can't turn it around. Look at Switch from the Wii U, look at PS4 from PS3, look at Xbox 360 from Xbox. Like, gaming is a very fluid hobby and industry, so rather than throw in the white towel, you can still fight for it. You can still do the correct marketing, the strategy, the cadence of releases, and you can earn back that market share. So it's really weird, this defeatist attitude where they don't worry about it. We'll just get the money from PlayStation users and lose 30% cut.
So
to your point about the Korea and China thing, the thing is, it's hard to get into those markets because it's PC, right? PC. You go down you walk down the high street in South Korea. There's PC bongs, right? There's not console bongs. And the only 3 games they're playing is League of Legends, Valorant, and maybe some CSGO. Like, that is pretty much just South Korean gaming. So it's
today, right?
Sorry, Genshin.
We don't know.
Things change.
20 years
just because they're playing something right now doesn't mean that it can't change, bro.
Well, no, but the thing is,
their second most successful IPO, South Korean IPO in all of gaming right now, in South Korea, is the recently launched what they called Stellar Bait Studio publisher. I forgot the name of them now.
Shift Up.
Shift Up. So they had their IPO release this week, and now they're the second most valuable off of one game. That will change, man. They're console centric. Like they're gonna blow up, and they've got much more investment now. 450 million of additional investment now into that company, and they focus primarily on consoles. So just because, as Blaze said, just because that is how it is now, the whole point is Sony is saying is we're gonna try and change that. Looking forward, we're gonna.
The thing, but here's like in South Korea and the way they are with esports, right? Now, you think of Jordan, there's a player who plays League of Legends, his name's Faker, right? That's his in-game name. He is the Michael Jordan over there. He will have swarms of people, the press, he can't walk down the street, right? Because he will get swarmed. Now, these people all chase this from when they're very, very young. He started playing League when he was like 10. Right? So they are introduced to this young, and it's a societal thing where everyone goes down to play League of Legends, and if you're really, really good, you get into the pro circuit and you make something of yourself.
But you know what it is,
Death Singer, some people just want to fucking play games, though, bro. Like, not everybody's that good to just fucking be an esport player, Some people just want to enjoy games what they are, dog. They just want to play games. And that mentality will change. Like you said, all the investments they're pushing forward with this, sticking around, hanging around the market, even if they're not the leader, they're hanging around till listen, this is like, you can't just assume like, yeah, esports is huge. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be an esports player. You know how rare, like, bro, there's only a few people that get into that, bro. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people can look up to these people. That doesn't mean that that's what the majority is going to be, bro. It's ridiculous.
I would also say, like, Jordan had his time, right? Like, I would say Halo used to be the Michael Jordan of gaming at once upon a time. And I would say Nintendo was the Michael Jordan of gaming once upon a time, as in no one could touch them, right? But things changed. So I get what he's saying now, but I think, like, you should always have the point of business, right? And me as a businessman is like, how can I expand my business and grow my revenue streams? And I'm not thinking, I can never get into that. I'm going to try. I'll make the investment and I'll try, because if it works out, there's a huge pot of money at the end of it.
Yeah, and it may not just be consoles either. By the way, China particularly is a very hard nut to crack. I think for Sony too, it's not just about consoles in like Korea and China. It could be about even if gamers are particularly on PC, it could be investments into studios, partnerships, games where they could publish games on PC that could get people in or aware of the PlayStation ecosystem, and then maybe sell other PlayStation products to them. And so I think that's part of the play too. And also, not just I think part of the investment too is figuring out ways to address the elephant in the room, which is the increase of game development, especially here in the United States, where the cost of labor is much higher. It's going to be cheaper to develop a game in Korea or India or Africa than it is here and in the U.S. And I think that's part of that strategy too, figuring out other ways to make high quality games without having that increased burden of labor costs. So I think there's different reasons or motivations of why they're investing. But I real quick, I do have a question for Falky. Is Falky still here?
Yeah, Falky. I was just going to go to Falky. Falky's here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I have a question about, because Falky, because they brought up the question, like, would it make sense for Xbox to get out of Europe? Would he, like, from a business sense, do you think that would make any sense for them? Like, would it save them costs in terms of, like, I'm thinking of just logistics, shipping, things like that, paying for store shelving, like marketing, things like that.
Well, it depends on what their end game is. Do they want to maintain any sort of presence, and in what subsection of the market? If they're going to push hard on the Fire Stick and the streaming and the cloud stuff, well, it doesn't make sense to have any physical, consoles and games on shelves and whatnot. But you still need to have a presence there to be, you got to be seen to be understood. So you would redirect your funding out of physical existence and into a marketing existence. But if you're not going to do the marketing, which is what's also being suggested, then you might as well just pack up and go home.
You might as well sell from the US only. With that logic.
So if they're getting spanked in Europe, well, it's something that, like, the last sort of 20 minutes of conversation on this panel has been very hyper fixated on what's the top end part of the market, what's the leader, what's the to be number one. Let's not forget just how big, diverse, multi-level, multi-platform, multi-delivery, multinational the entire gaming industry is. And the biggest and best performing games, even the ones you've been talking about across PC, console, doesn't matter what it is, they're still barely small single digit percentages of the overall market. There's plenty of pie there to eat and cut up and have the success in it. What they need to do is not overspend and then under recover, which is what this whole last hour and a half's conversation's really been about. Is they've spent too much, now they've got to try and recover it. So if they're going to bail out of Europe in terms of consoles and physical games, and they're only going to offer streaming, Game Pass, and it's on PC, or if your current Xbox is capable of doing it, your console is doing it, or doing it on a Fire Stick or a TV or whatever it is, that's fine as a strategy. And if you want to sell your games, you sell them digitally onto a competing platform or through the PlayStation or Nintendo. Well, that's a perfectly acceptable strategy as well. What they want to make sure they do, though, is not cannibalize the sales, which generate a lot more money for them than the subscription service, by trying to force a subscription service and just deteriorating their revenue base completely. It's happened to them in the past. It's how they landed in this mess 18 months ago. It needs to be very, very meticulously calculated, and it needs to be done in a method that doesn't upset your core supporter base too much, because they're the ones that are going to provide you with a stable income, but it allows you to actually make money somewhere else. So if they bail out physical with the consoles and just say, if you want to play our games in Europe, we're marketing them in saying they're on PlayStation, well, that's fine. That's a perfectly fine strategy. They'll just need to make sure that their business model reflects that they're selling them not at a premium, because they'll be competing against other games on those platforms, and PlayStation and Nintendo and PC and wherever else they sell it through. Their published games will be competing against others, and they'll need to price them accordingly, because they're not saying that this is the premium game on our console anymore. They're saying this is a game on another platform that we need to, attract people to play. The issue that they've had for a long time is that they've never been able to match, to a degree. Don't worry about PlayStation games. They've had trouble matching the quality of second and third tier publishers in terms of quality, quantity, and game output. So, it's probably a sensible place for them to start, because at least give them a yardstick on whether they're going to succeed with this or not.
So here's the thing. So David, you say that, and I appreciate your input on that. But so we just talked about the European rumor that's going on, that they may be pulling consoles out of Europe and other regions. But then I'll switch it over to another thing that's happened here in the States and worldwide. Is Xbox's latest ad says, and they're clear, this is, Phil Spencer said it in different articles and different interviews, and their latest ad says you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox games, the Fire Stick. So Erica, I'll ask Erica here. Erica, you heard what David said. You heard like what everyone's saying about how that market share and how that mind share may like differentiate and be reduced drastically across the world if Xbox pulls the consoles out. But that's okay, because they'll make the money on Sony. If they put their games on Sony consoles, in the US, they'll be just fine.
And the Fire Stick.
But Erica, now they're saying even in the States, hey, listen, when was the last time you actually saw a go buy an Xbox Series X commercial? You don't. But now they're running ads of, you don't need a console, Erica, just buy a Fire Stick, right? Or buy a Samsung TV. So even though I'm sitting here agreeing with David, and I'm agreeing with Blaze and BRAP and what they're saying, and Death Singer and what their thoughts are, I'm like, wait a minute. Even in the States, they're kind of saying hardware is a second thought. Buy a TV or buy this Fire Stick. What do you think?
I mean, it's been like that for a minute. They've come out and said, Phil said it himself, the console war is over. And they've always wanted to be everywhere. So I'm kind of, I don't know if this really is answering the question or not. I'm kind of lost.
It is. It is.
But, and that's their motto. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be everywhere, whether it's mobile, whether it's streaming, online on PC. That's what I meant to say, on PC. They want to be everywhere. So them saying, hey, you're not going to need a console, I think it's just them owning it and kind of saying, like, this is what we are now. And they're just pushing that forward For those who don't get it yet, because it seems like some people just don't get it yet, but it's been like this for a minute. Like
it has.
That's why I feel like almost like, what are we talking about here? Because this is just common sense. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I think the reason we're talking about it is generally because depending on where you get your gaming news from and such, people are still saying, "Oh no, Xbox is going to come out." I mean, come on, Erica. Just about a month and a half ago, everybody was talking about the new handheld Xbox, and Xbox is not giving up. They're not giving up on hardware.
People still care about the console. Because I mean, I do. I care about consoles. I like consoles,
So do I.
I always will. I don't think they're going away. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. It's just that now they're kind of fitting into that shoe of like, hey man, if you don't want the console, you don't have to, and we'll be just fine. And I think that's kind of where they're at.
I guess
Microsoft. It's Microsoft after all. So they want to be everywhere.
No,
on PlayStation as well, which people. It's going to hurt their feelings because they fight console wars every day. But hey, man, more people get to play these games. I've been saying it from the start. I want Gears on PlayStation. I'm a big Gears fan. I want it on there because I want the franchise to grow and I want more people to play it. And I also want to get on there and whip ass. I want to whip ass on there. I want to whoop PlayStation gamers' ass on Gears. That's what I want.
I don't know. I still think exclusives are important. I like that whole kumbaya thing, and I want games to be everywhere. Listen, exclusive sell consoles. It's never gonna this is what it is. It's not about even being a console fan. Like this is what it is, bro. Like you need to have shit that drives people to the box. You know what I mean? You need shit that drives the shit to the box. Like
it's not enough for Xbox anymore, though. That's the thing. It's not enough. Yeah, it is. PlayStation.
It's not the direction they're going to. It's they have no choice to go this direction because every other front is occupied.
Well,
yeah,
I think
for me, it's like a technological thing, right? Like I've always loved like the forefront of. I know people say, "Oh, why aren't you a PC gamer then?" But PC gaming is still led by console gaming, right? Console gaming is the lowest common denominator. But what exclusives give you is games built up from the ground up for a single piece of hardware, right? And we don't really get that anymore on Xbox because now it's PC and console ubiquitous releases. And now if they start doing PlayStation as well and Nintendo, well, basically they become a multi-platform publisher, and those kind of curated games that were built from the ground up to maximize the hardware, we're just not going to get that anymore. That where the whole studio is, everyone is developing around one primary piece of equipment, with one API, etc. Like we're just not gonna. And for me, that is a bit disappointing as a multi-platform gamer because I always already had all the consoles. So for me, it's not about like, oh, I need to buy an Xbox. For me, it's just give me the best possible product you can do for this platform, and exclusives were that avenue, the greatest avenue for that. And I feel like I'm losing that now on Xbox.
It's why sometimes people say that with like Horizon Forbidden, whether you like the Horizon Forbidden games or not, Forbidden West or Until Dawn, like that's fine, but like they really push the box as far as they possibly can go. Don't get me wrong, Horizon Forbidden West looks amazing on PC, but as far as they push the console as far as it goes. Now with Xbox, we don't really see that. It's day and date everywhere, and it's good for streaming. It's good on your phone. It's good on your PC. It's good on your TV. So you don't really see the and you guys are seeing it. You guys like the proof's in the pudding. And I own 3 Xbox Series X's, and honestly, I don't see the power of the X. Remember all those? Oh my God, the power of the X is going to blow you away. It's going to be amazing. Not really.
And Mooch, that Horizon game, Mooch, is a PlayStation 4 game. Believe me.
Right.
That's not even Guerrilla really flexing yet. That has to run on a PlayStation 4.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. You understand that? Like,
that's right. Good point, Blaze. That's a very good point. That's not even really the PS5. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing that, when people are arguing against, exclusives, it's like they seem to forget like the other entertainment narratives they consume, or not narratives, the other entertainment fields, or services they consume, like Netflix. How do they drive consumers to their services? Exclusive content. Like it's, so this idea that gaming, I feel like I sound like Worrywart now. This idea that like gaming is somehow different than those other entertainment mediums isn't true. And then if you look at like Circana NPD numbers, I mean, anytime exclusives come out from like Sony and Nintendo, they're charting. So the demand for those products are still there. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, somebody wanted to chime in. I heard, David, go ahead.
I did. When other people talk about stacking Xbox, it doesn't mean they're stacking the consoles, mate. It means that they were stacking the subscriptions.
Yes.
You don't need to have three Series X to stack an Xbox.
No.
Surely didn't think that. Surely, right?
No. Thank you, David. I appreciate that clarity.
Like literally stacking them on each other? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, God.
So to all the viewers, if you don't know, Mooch has this private hobby where he likes to stack consoles together and get them to balance.
Yes, we play Jenga with them. Yes, afterwards.
It's like a science test for you, Mooch.
It really is, BRAP. No, this is the Great Gaming Forte has also joined us. This is a treat. Forte. You guys know Forte, and also shout out to the great Slow Mo Backslap DPS podcast, 9 p.m. on Thursdays. I love it. We do the lead in right into it, Forte. Forte, how you been, buddy? Now, what do you think about all this? You've heard a lot of banter back and forth, and I know you've already got your notes for your show. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I had to come here just to get warmed up to yell at Slow Mo about I don't know what the heck he's gonna say tonight. So I got to get prepared for that. I mean, listen, for me. It's not a big deal because I already knew this was happening. This is something that's been rumored, talked about. Even on this show, we talked about, even with the whole thing with them separating day and date away. Even on this show, we talked about like scenarios and things that they should do in order to, bring more revenue into and make it more sustainable. Because that's what we always kept talking about. Is it sustainable?
Right.
Is it this?
Right.
Is it that?
That's right.
And they're basically telling you at $16.99 a month, it wasn't sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
And
Thank you, Forte.
So we had to separate it and make it $19.99. And guess what? Unfortunately, some people are not going to be able to partake in this unless you jump up in tiers. So, I mean, I never really, it didn't bother me to that point. But also going to what Erica just said, like, this is like kind of the direction Xbox has been kind of going in for a while. Like, they've been telling people they don't need a console for years now. Like, they're finally putting it out
it's in words now. It's a slogan now.
They're actually dropping marketing telling people that you don't need it. Now, that's the thing that's new. But for years at these conferences, at these showcases, and blog posts, when they're talking to Bloomberg, they talk about how the Xbox ecosystem is a platform. The console is just part of it. But, the endeavors of wanting it to be more than just that is more the allure for them. You go look at leaked documents where they talk about, they want to see the majority of their player base or their subscription base off platform. Like, off platform means not on Xbox. So they're talking about significantly more people off Xbox. Now, the only thing that I always had the only problem I ever had with this whole situation is you were basically betting on something that was never going to happen anytime fast. Like you got a nice little bump from PC. PC Game Pass did, take off a little bit. It sustained them for quite some time. Console base kind of flared out because people got tired of waiting for the games and stuff. And they hit this plateau right around the same time that they told people they don't need the console anymore. Well, we already know that, the mobile isn't going to pick up anytime soon to the point where people want to play games on mobile. We see what's going on with all the games, from Ubisoft, like all those games that they sold over there, the low numbers and stuff for the full-fledged games that they sold on PC. On mobile phones. People aren't ready to play experiences like that just yet. And then when you start thinking about where some more of the growth can come from, it only is going to really come from the console side. But Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, they're not going to put Game Pass or something like that on their platform. So they kind of put themselves in a corner where it's like, yeah, they want to be everywhere, but they don't want to stay as ubiquitous to the console only. And that's the thing that kind of is like unfortunate at this point because they can't change that now. Like, people keep saying that, yeah, things can change. People, forgive and all this other stuff. But I'm sorry, when a company tells you that basically they don't want you to buy something, people aren't going to buy it. Especially if you're giving them every reason not to buy it.
Exactly.
They're not giving you a reason to buy it at all.
I think the thing
this
for
showcase,
me...
this is the last thing. This showcase, think about it. The showcase they just put on was it literally gave you every reason why you should own an Xbox. That showcase they put on for June. But during that whole showcase, the whole underlining tone of that showcase was, look at all the games that you can enjoy that you don't even have to have an Xbox for.
Yeah.
You know what I just realized?
What's that?
You know what I just realized? If we had that showcase during the 360 era, we would be popping off.
my
you know how many
God.
360s they would sell?
Yeah.
Insane amounts. Insane.
That's sad for take because that's their strongest showcase. You know,
that's
in a very long time.
Yeah.
But the whole undertone of it is, like everybody kept saying, when are these games coming to PlayStation? Where are these games coming here? Like we already said it. Once they announced that those games were going to PlayStation, everybody said at the showcase, okay, so when is this game going to come? When are these games going to come? That's why they didn't even use the word exclusive. Think about that. Not one word exclusive came out of that whole showcase. That's where Xbox is now. And it's very, very unfortunate at this point. But go ahead.
It is unfortunate. I was going to say, like, the only thing, because what's weird to me is I know everyone's talking about Fire Stick now, but I feel like it's bloody Groundhog Day, because I had all these same arguments about when they put it on Samsung TVs or when Game Pass was going to be accessible on mobile and PC. And it's like, there's billions of consumers on mobile, so Game Pass is going to have exponential growth. Even Microsoft thought so, right? And it's like, but it didn't happen. It didn't transpire. They actually had Game Pass decline when you add Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass numbers together. So it's like, okay, now they're hedging their bets on Fire Stick, right? And I just hope, like, at what point do they realize that potential install base doesn't necessarily turn into active install base? You know, like just because there's billions of people who use mobile doesn't mean billions of people are interested in Game Pass. And likewise on PC and mobile and Fire Stick and Samsung TVs, because they, I would have thought for over the last few years they can see that by sacrificing the console space, they're not gaining as much of the rest of it as they thought. And I just wonder if continuing on with this strategy is necessarily the best one. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But I feel like it's just going to be more of the same from them.
So now,
Nib,
go ahead, Brap.
To your point, Nib. I
think we lost. Did we lose Brap?
What the imp?
Oh, there it is.
Huh?
Okay. Sorry, Brap. For some reason, I thought you botted out.
Oh, can you guys hear me okay?
You're good now.
Botted out.
Yeah. No,
I botted out. Yeah, bots got out. Yeah, no, I was saying, like, to Nib's point, one of my...
talking about Cole East. I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm about naming this.
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
No, the Xbox Influencers podcast. I mean, they always overestimate the impact of these decisions. And it's like, if you step back, and Nib said this, like, it was Nib or I think Falky, I forget, one of them said, the pie's so big for gaming. But with that pie, there's different use cases, different consumers. There's a lot of market stratification in gaming, and so, and we know this already. Like Game Pass is on Amazon Fire Stick. Well, Amazon has their own gaming service, and it has about 350,000 subscribers out of the billions of people that are on Amazon. Right? We saw AAA games released on the iPhone. We have data showing that the games like Resident Evil, Death Stranding aren't doing very well. Actually, have been money losses on the Apple iPhone. We have, mobile gaming, different type of beast in terms of gaming, different type of gamer. So this idea that it's an automatic, it's people need to stop with that, because that's not how the market is. It's not how the market's set up. There's the ability to play games on the fly isn't new. There's been things like, do you guys remember? I mean, we've seen, as much as like the conversation around the death of the console market, which I think has been a little over exaggerated. The console market has been a little bit resilient. I mean, we've had, like, mobile gaming on phones isn't new. Do you guys remember the Nokia N-Gage? That was 20-something years ago. Yeah. That didn't work out. Do you guys remember the who's the company Donnie D went to after Microsoft fired him?
Zynga or
Zynga.
Yeah,
Zynga.
Yeah, remember Zynga? Yeah. And then what was the other, like, small, like, Android gaming box? What was it called?
The Ouya?
Ouya, yeah. Remember that?
Ouya.
That was supposed to be a disruptor. That didn't happen. Mobile gaming. Remember, mobile gaming was supposed to replace console gaming. That didn't happen. So it's like we have these data points that we can look to, these trends, where people shouldn't be overstating the impact of Microsoft or Xbox decisions with things like Fire Stick.
So, BRAP, on that point, a really recent example is I literally was reading an article, I think it was like 2 months ago. It was some mobile-centric business, like a analyst or something. And he was saying Nintendo is actually reconsidering their investment in mobile gaming because I think since they started it like 5 years ago or something like that, I think they took in a 1 billion, which might sound like a lot, but it's literally a speck compared to their console space, and to the point where it's nothing. Yeah, they're reconsidering whether they actually want to invest and split up their studios and take away from the production on the console side, etc., 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 just to get that sort of a margin over such a long period of time. So it's not an automatic thing. Like Nintendo, you would think Nintendo games would be amazing on mobile, like that they would have such a such a breadth of an audience, but it hasn't transpired because, again, like you said, the use case, the demographics, all of that is different, and different types of customers play on different types of.
I would reconsider my situation if I can make a bunch of people go out and buy stuff at the drop of a hat too.
Absolutely.
Mooch, can I just say something though?
Go ahead, Blaze.
Isn't it ironic though that like now that Xbox has arguably one of their best showcases ever. Okay, all these games are coming now. They want to fuck with Game Pass prices, increase shit. It's distasteful. It's just bad timing to me. You know what I mean? I knew this shit was coming. Everybody knew this shit was coming, the price increase. But it's just like you telling me after all these great games, like there's actually excitement. Like I might go on Game Pass and subscribe to get a few of these games. But now that the games have arrived, the price increase has arrived. It's just bad timing, bro. It's
the timing. Yeah, the timing.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just weird, bro.
No, it really, like you guys were saying, you said the 360 era, the Xbox One era would have absolutely killed if that was the showcase. Absolutely destroyed. I mean, Sony would be in trouble at that point, Let me ask you guys a question. I'll start with David here. David, real quick, I want to hear your take. Like, this is one of the things that people are saying. The article is probably from a few weeks ago, but now that you're seeing Hellblade 2's sales were very low. They weren't really, it didn't really move the mark. A lot of people were looking at the achievements and saying a lot of people didn't even get past a certain part of the game. So the engagement wasn't there. Is this another situation like we saw with Tango Gameworks? Is Ninja Theory in trouble, or no, we're not going to see that? Because I read another article this week saying that we may see Xbox shaving a lot of teams now that they have Activision. Let's be honest, with Activision and Bethesda's big games, do they need to have these little teams that they brought on like Ninja Theory and Double Fine? I'm just throwing names out there. Does their performance impact, or are they safe under the umbrella of Microsoft?
Yeah, well, performance matters, obviously, and no one's safe under the banner of Microsoft at the moment. You've seen that they've been pushing through these redundancy program that's been in effect for the last couple of months, and instead of sacking everybody on the same day, they're now dropping people out as they go along during the week. There's been heaps of people leaving Xbox over the last month. It just hasn't been a write-up about it because they haven't said, they sacked 600 people in one day because they're all going out on redundancies. I don't know why people are surprised that Hellblade 2 didn't chart massively. It's a very niche game in a niche part of the genre that's a niche genre to begin with. And every man and his dog was saying that they were going to pick it up on Game Pass day one anyway. So I'm not surprised it didn't sell. And for the rest, for other ones like with Tango Gameworks and Hi-Fi Rush, again, it's a niche type of game. If they had a couple 100,000 people play it, well, that's great. They had a lot more than that from memory, but if these smaller studios pumping out these smaller games, which is what they need to fill out the subscription service anyway, if they're going to start shutting them down, well, then the big ones that aren't going to perform are certainly on the chopping block. They're chasing this idea of, I don't even know how you would explain it. They're never going to recreate massive, like Palworld's a great example. That thing came from nowhere, did absolute numbers, and then it's done. And the team that did that is now flush with cash and has no clue what they're doing next. So they've buddied up with Sony to do some non-gaming stuff. But their next game is already, their next two games, the developments for that's already paid for. But that came out of nowhere. And same thing with Helldivers 2. That thing came out of nowhere, did decent numbers, made a shitload of money for a lot of people, and everyone's talking about player counts. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
who cares?
They made their money and then some.
They've got it running. So if it stays for another 12, 18 months, that's great. But everyone's got to perform, because if you don't perform, then it costs money to have them around. They got to get paid. They got to pay for it somehow. So, and that's again, you look at Naughty Dog. Not picked on them forever. They've done what since 2020? When was it 2020 or 2018? When
2020. 2020 was The Last of Us 2.
2020, baby.
So since they've released The Last of Us Part 2, have done 3 remasters and PC releases.
Yeah.
And they're at least 2 years away from showing us whatever's next.
Ghost
a long
Tsushima
time.
too, right?
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
No. Yeah, when was that?
Yeah. Sucker Punch.
When did Ghost release?
2020.
Yeah, I know Ghost.
Part 2 and...
Yeah, I want to know when it released. I'm asking you.
You're asking for Ghost of Tsushima, right, Blaze?
Yeah. When did it release?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, so I think all them studios are on like a 4 or 5 year cycle at this point, except for Insomniac.
Yeah,
it was.
So
July
the reason I pick on
2020,
Naughty Dog as an example, though, is it's not just the Naughty Dog studio. Naughty Dog are also responsible for the visual arts and the ICE team and 2 other internal development things at PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not pumping something out the gate to generate revenue, they're sitting there costing money. And it doesn't matter if they're a small team like Tango Gameworks or whoever's making Hellblade 3 or whatever's happening there. If they're costing money, they're on the block. And if they're not performing, then they'll go. And at the moment, Microsoft is shedding people like crazy in all departments. So, yeah, if they're worried about sales of something that was highly put forth about play it day one in Game Pass for all of its marketing, and with the showcase it just happened, nearly everything that was shown had play it day one in Game Pass on it, and now they've come out and said, oh yeah, but your day one Game Pass tier is this. Well, yeah, it's a bit scummy, isn't it?
I mean, like I said, you telling everybody they don't need something, and then you're telling them to play it and play it here and not buy it. So
right.
I mean, and that's the biggest thing that people don't realize. Like, it always comes back to, this isn't gamers saying this. This is Xbox telling you how to buy and play your games. They're telling you, like, yeah, we're giving you consumer options, which is always great, which I'll never take that away from them. The option is, hey, play it on PC, play it on mobile, play it, in the cloud, but basically play it every way, but pretty much buy the game. Because we really don't ever tell people that you can buy the game. Now people buy the game on PC like a lot. I think that's why the PC side, secretly, I think that's why the PC side didn't get impacted as much when it came to how Game Pass is being portrayed on it, because that's the market that literally buys the games for them when it comes to like the Steam platform. They know they can't really mess with that side of it because it messes with their They want to own it on Steam type shit. Yeah, exactly. Because I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Addict because we were doing his show when this all happened, and I asked him. I was like, I said, who do you think is more important to Xbox right now, the Xbox gamer or the PC gamer, when it comes to support? And he said the Xbox gamer. I said, well, I would beg you to tell you that when it comes to support, the PC gamer that buys the game on Steam is the one that's most important, especially since most of it. If you want to even,
I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I would think the PC,
especially if you want to couple the fact that Game Pass has the growth they did get in Game Pass was from the PC player base, and what Xbox is telling you by not increasing the price over there, because people are miffed on why the console gamers are the ones that's being affected by this and not PC gamers, because they don't want to lose the revenue that they already are getting from that side, because they already see what the outcome could come from if they move in the wrong direction versus that player base.
You don't want to go against PC gamers.
Yeah,
you don't want to mess.
They don't want to go in that direction. So guess what? We have full control. Unfortunately, and this is why you have multiple consoles. You can play how you want to play on PC, play anywhere. But if you're an Xbox only gamer, they are at the controls of everything that you do when it comes to your gaming. Mm-hmm. If they want to change the price of something, you have to deal with it unless you don't want to deal with it no more. And guess what? That's why a lot of people made the moves that they started making, because guess what? People that I never thought would ever play on a PC that was Xbox gamers, they're on PC now, because that's where the influence of where Xbox is basically telling you should be at.
Xbox moved their console gamers to PC. They did. That's what they did.
Not to mention they don't have to pay for online, which is a big selling point too.
And also, not to mention, you don't have to pay full price for your games either, because you know,
or Game Pass.
Green Man exists. CD keys
or Game
exist.
Pass.
I remember the last time I bought a
Game Pass is cheaper on PC too. That's right. So it's $11.99.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right, Nib. Yeah,
you get it across the board, and I mean, it's great being treated as like the best citizen ever. Forget first class. It's like the best citizen ever, because you're not gouging me for my wallet. The only thing that does that is a Steam sale. Shout out to the summer Steam sale. Apart from that, it's like, paying for online. Imagine doing that now. I sit here and think, I was paying for online for how many years? And I don't have to pay for online now. I just get my game and off I go. And even then, I don't have to pay, I get some PlayStation games coming over despite me not being interested. I mean, I'm happy they're doing it. I mean,
Xbox gives all these choices, and we talked about on the show well over a year ago when the rumor came out. If Xbox gives all these choices, and they're going the PC route, and they don't care if you play on Fire Stick or they don't care if you play on, any device, why doesn't Xbox get rid of the online fee on their console? Play. Why do they have that?
Mooch, but they won't.
They won't.
Yeah, they won't.
Well, they're trying to squeeze their console user base as much as they can before they dwindle further, right? But it was funny about Hellblade 2 because, yes, I agree. It is relatively niche. I think the first game was only made by like 12 people, but comparatively, I am actually still surprised at the sales because it's still quite a tentpole title and it's like a benchmark pushing one visually. It did have a degree of marketing behind it. But I think it's out of the top 100 in its launch month in GSD, which is Europe and other territories, and it ranked number 37 in its launch month in the United States, Sakana. And while we don't have an exact comparative because those entities didn't do digital sales tracking back in 2017 when Hellblade launched, but when Hellblade launched as a PS4 only timed exclusive, it was actually the number one best-selling game on PlayStation Network for that month across the world. So, it did relatively well in sales. I think it was like it did a few 100,000 in the first month or something like that. Whereas now we it's not even in the top 100 in GSD and it's out of the top 30 in the United States. So for me, it was a bit surprising. I guess there's been like insane Game Pass cannibalization with that particular title. And I do wonder, is the engagement enough? Is the engagement enough to compensate? It obviously wasn't for Tango, even though they had a critically acclaimed title. And I wonder if it will be for Hellblade, which is critically far less well received. It's a much shorter game, and it did have a similar kind of development time frame. It was in development for 5 years or something?
Hellblade, yeah, it was announced. It was announced in 2019, and I believe if you're talking about Hellblade 2, it was announced in 2019, and then the devs recently came out and said, "Hey, when we did that advertisement, when we announced the Xbox Series X, all we had was that clip you saw. That's basically all we really had done at that point." So yeah, it was a 4 or 5 year, dev, and they ramped up to 100 people. They had a new studio, new mocap. They had a lot of new technology. Now, again, that's not wasted money. I just think that the concern here is eventually is a Ninja Theory, is a Double Fine thing. Those are companies that are seemingly taking 5 years, right? Like Nib, you just said, 5 years to bring out Hellblade 2. They went and bought all these smaller teams thinking they would get a ton of output to continue putting games into Game Pass. That's not happening at the alarming rate. They're still doing third-party deals. because they're first party, even with Bethesda, even with Activision. I mean, don't get me wrong. Black Ops 6 is going to be a huge push. But at the same time, I still don't think it makes that big. I still don't think you're going to see people who play Call of Duty want to buy and own Call of Duty. And I speak for myself. That's a small census. But I'm saying I really do believe that that's the truth. Do I think the Game Pass number will go up? Yes. Do I think it goes up drastically to where it's unbelievable? Not really. I really don't. I think a lot of people are going to continue to play it on PC or PlayStation, and they're going to buy it. I really do. I don't think they're going to go, oh, you know what I should do?
And Warzone's free anyway, so.
And Warzone is
free. A lot
free.
of people just going to play that.
Is massive. Absolutely. Shout out to the great Jay Barry. He says, buy your games, people. Don't forget, shout out to the great Jay Barry. The Claymore says most of Sony studios, including Naughty Dog, are working on 2 projects simultaneously. That's partly why it's taking so long, but we might get 2 games from each studio this gen because of parallel devs. Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but.
I ain't rocking with that, Barry. I'm sorry. If they give me an option to get the game for free, I'm taking it. They
it'd be stupid if you didn't.
What game is free? What do you mean free,
there's
Forte?
Nothing wrong with
Forte. What do you mean free?
I will say there's nothing wrong with people taking the, going out and support. Like I heard Erica say, like, if you like the game, you want to support it. I take nothing away from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I played, I bought the first Hellblade. I bought it on both platforms, PlayStation and Xbox. And then I played it again when it hit Game Pass. So I played it 3 times the first one. This one, I just played it on Game Pass. I refused. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah, but we got. I think we have to stop, especially with the price increases. And this is only the beginning. I would not use the word free.
Yeah, it's not free. We got to stop doing that. Like, you guys are getting charged for this.
It's bloody expensive, man.
Hey, Forte, do you have Forte, do you have HBO Max or Netflix?
Sure do, and I pay more for my Netflix than this Game Pass is about to cost me.
So is Netflix free?
Nope, $23 a month.
Okay, then there is Game Pass. That's the thing.
Although I will say to Forte's point, it's like I advocate for supporting the devs you like, but at the same time, I'm sorry Ubisoft and EA, but I'm never buying your games for full price because your sub-services exist. Like, why would I pay?
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem now.
Why would I pay $70 for Assassin's Creed Shadows base game when I can get the Ultimate Edition with all the add-ons for $15? And then just unsubscribe after the month.
That's the same reason. Why would I rent a hotel room? Yeah, it's like you're paying. You're paying for living in an apartment. You're spending the same type of money when you can put that into a mortgage and own a house. I want to own my shit, bro. And if I'm slightly interested in the game, I'm not talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't think Dessinger is a big Assassin's Creed fan. I'm just saying, like, if you're really interested in the game, you're gonna want to own that shit. You're gonna want to go back to it. You don't want to sit there with a stopwatch saying, "Oh shit, the end of the month is coming up. Am I renewing or what?" Like, you know what I mean? Shit happens. People got lives, kids, work.
Stopwatch. What are you talking about?
Forte, let me tell you something. Let me explain something. I just want to explain my logic. Let me explain my logic. Listen, I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids, a life, and a wife. Okay, so if I'm
a wife and a dog, but keep going.
Not a dog. But listen, if I'm subbing to all right, I want to play Stalker 2, right? And I get Game Pass. Now, guess what? There's a lot of games coming out. It's not just Stalker 2 coming out. All right, so there's a lot of competition. So now, I don't even beat Stalker in that month. So now I'm subbing to another, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if I'm going to be subbing, if I'm going to be paying $40 to rent a game because I couldn't beat Stalker 2 in the month period because there's all these other fucking games and you got life, you got work, all this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be put on a fucking time limit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To beat a game. I don't.
That's $20.
So if I have to sub to Game Pass for 2 months and spend $40, I might as well just own the game.
But here's the thing, Blaze. If you, like, me, I can only speak for me personally. Avowed, I would never Game Pass it because I'm interested in the game. I'm going to buy that game.
Right.
I'm going to buy that game. Indiana Jones is getting Game Pass because I'm not interested. Assassin's Creed Shadows is getting Ubisoft Plus because I like Assassin's Creed games. The best Assassin's Creed game ever made is Black Flag. Go argue with yourself. It is what it is. So I've loved Assassin's Creed, but why am I going to pay the $70 when the money I spent on Assassin's Creed I could go buy Space Marine 2? There we go. I just solved my own issue. Pay $15 the month. I don't care about owning an Assassin's Creed because it's a one and done. I play it once and I'm checked out. I did that with Valhalla, did that with Odyssey, did that with Origins. Like that's all the game is to me. It's just 15. So,
yeah, I mean that's what I mean. The way I look at it, and I don't disagree with you, Blaze. I mean, I actually really do agree with you on those points. I think like I said, you can only speak for myself. Game Pass just allows me to buy. It's like there's a bunch of games that come out that I want to play on there, but then the games that don't come on there, it saves me, and I can buy the games I want to buy. Like I would have not had like if in a world where Game Pass didn't exist, I probably wouldn't have bought Remnant 2 last year, which was probably the best game that came out last year for me because I played it.
I agree with you.
I want to piggyback. I want to piggyback when you're done, but go ahead.
I probably would not have played that game if it was something I had to like amongst all the other games that was coming out that I would have to buy outright. But the fact that I had the money and I was already locked into Game Pass and it was a game that everybody was talking about. I was like, you know what? Let me jump into this game. I played with my friends and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it. Same thing with games this year. Like when it comes to like NCAA football, I'm a huge football fan. Coming out for the first time in over 11 years, I'm buying that game day one. I know it's coming to EA. I know it's coming to EA Play within 6 months. But guess what? I'm not waiting for that to come out.
Right.
So I'm going to get it now. Same thing with Battlefield. Even though Battlefield 2042 had its issues at launch.
It depends on the game.
But see,
right?
Forte,
it depends on the game for me.
But hear me out. Forte.
If it's a game that I want to buy, I'm going to buy it. But if they're giving me an option to play it free day one, I'm not buying it.
Again, it ain't free, but I do want to say this much. And Erica, I'm going to give you the mic. But the thing is, though,
I just want to add to it. But Mooch, go ahead.
My point's real quick to piggyback off what Blaze said, though. But Forte, I know you, right? And I know you play a lot. You still play a lot of Destiny. You just said you're going to be playing NCAA. You just mentioned these other games. Like, meanwhile, these months, like Blaze is saying, these months, these weeks are going by. You have Game Pass and you're playing NCAA. You bought that. You're playing Destiny. Mm-hmm. You're playing this. You're playing that. Meanwhile, $20 a month, $20 a month, $20 a month, $20 a month, and you're not playing those games. Then you're like, maybe next year I'll play whatever. That game that you're going to play, that game you're going to play next year is on sale for like $20.
That's not the only subscription service that's like that for me, though. My Netflix is like that. My HBO Max is like that. My Paramount Plus is like that.
Right, so you got to choose.
Movie, how you consume movies in a show is completely different.
Completely different.
You watch a show or a movie, you're done.
No, you're right, but I can go a whole month and like literally I probably went 6 months without turning on my Paramount Plus.
You got a girlfriend?
I got a wife.
Okay, so like my girl, like I don't use HBO Max all the time, but if that shit cuts off, my neck's getting cut off. Like that shit gotta stay on. There's certain things that gotta stay on. It's like the lights, bro. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm talking about. See, Game Pass to me, my daughter, like shout out to Mooch. Mooch is off my Game Pass. Like she plays, like I don't even have to buy. Like I buy her Mortal Kombat. Basically, she's a fighting game person. She loves fighting games, so I bought her Mortal Kombat. I bought her Street Fighter. I bought her Tekken when it came out. Those are the only games I actually went out and bought her. But she's every day up in her room playing games on her Xbox that aren't those games. So maybe, like you said, I'm not the one that really benefits from Game Pass because I'll be the first one to tell you, if I had to think about all the games that hit Game Pass versus the games I actually play, I probably play 4% of the games that hit Game Pass.
I agree with you. And that's the honest truth. I'm glad you're being honest about that. Like, they want to talk about all these fucking games. Nobody's playing all them trash-ass games,
I don't play all those games. My family plays more of those games than anything. So it's more of a benefit to basically just help subsidize gaming in general. And every once in a while, you'll probably come across a game like, oh, dude, I didn't even know this game was inside the Game Pass. Let me check it out. So anybody that tells you they play everything, that's just, it is what it is. But for the most part, you're going to mostly buy the games that you care about. Now, the thing that really interests me going forward is now that they're basically doing away with all of the discounts that they're giving you inside the Game Pass, how many people are going to be still a part of that ecosystem a year to 2 years from now as they fall off their $3, $2 $10 deal that they had for the last 4 or 5 years. Because let's be for real, we all been eating since 2017 off dollar deals and stuff.
$1, $3,
so let's see what
$10
it
deals.
looks like in the next 2 years.
Let's see what happens with Erica. Let me give Erica the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say something, because this is why I feel more passionately, well, I don't know if passion is the right word, because who wants to spend money? But I want to support the devs I love and the games I love, right? And a big example, and Forte, you mentioned it, Remnant 2. It's like one of the best perfect examples, because the first game sold what it did, right? It did okay, but it did enough to warrant a sequel. They come out with the sequel, it sells even better, much better, and then it warrants DLC. DLC comes out. The developers and their PR and everybody behind that game did it right, because they put out the game for you to buy. It did well, and then it went into Game Pass. And that's how you were able to play it, right?
I like that.
That's how I feel a lot of these developers should do it, especially if they're a smaller team. That's like, it's to me, that's the way they should do it. And it's why I feel...
Take your money, then put it on. Yep.
Right. And I supported them. I paid for those games. And I like to see that, okay, my money went somewhere, because now I'm getting more. Because Remnant is awesome. Like, it's very underrated. And I'm glad, more people are coming around to it. It's just one example of like something I feel is very underrated, especially in the Souls genre. Souls-like genre.
Imagine renting Elden Ring, Erica. Could you imagine?
No way.
Yeah,
and then
rent Elden Ring for a month.
Here's where I'm getting at too. If Remnant went to Game Pass day one, all right, let's just say it was exclusive and it went day one to Xbox and Game Pass, you think it would have the success it did? No freaking way. There's no way. It wouldn't sell what it did, and I don't even know if we'd have a Remnant 2, to be honest. I don't know if we would.
I think
it's a good point, Erica.
In the sea of games. That,
exactly.
Like for me personally, because like I said, I bought it on PC day one when it came out, and then when it came out on Xbox Game Pass, I re-downloaded it on there, and then I play it in co-op with my daughter because she's never played it. So that's how I'm replaying it again that way, so I didn't have to buy it on Xbox. But I'm with you,
right?
And I always try to tell people, I do think there is a thing when it comes to like your enjoyment of a game when you actually buy it, because I'll be the first one to tell you, working at GameStop, being the person that gets a lot of games for free, Mooch, you can probably speak to this because you mooch off a lot of stuff too.
Hey, I tried, man.
The things,
it's getting hard these days.
You personally buy yourself have a little bit more value.
That's right.
It's true. More value to
yes, when you buy
the games that are given to you. There's been many games that these corporations have given me that I look at and I'll be like, hey, do you want this code? Or, hey, I just put it in on my system and I never booted the game up. Versus a game that I went out, like, for example, they gave me Destiny every year all the way through 2018 on PlayStation. Now, I'm an Xbox person and don't want to play on PlayStation. So what did I do? I put the game on my PlayStation and I went out and bought the whole thing on Xbox because I valued the game where I was playing it at, and I enjoyed it no matter what. I just feel like people don't really realize how much, owning something really matters. I'm not going to tell people they shouldn't play stuff in Game Pass, because I do that too. But there is something about owning something that does make it a little bit more special. But
well,
I got to head over here to Slow-Mo before he kills me. Mooch.
Yeah, tell Slow-Mo we said what's
up. I got to get
everybody.
going too.
All right, David, thank you both. Forte, I was gonna do a speed round here, guys. Forte,
nice,
thank you, David, thank you. Shout out to Albert G, who makes a point. He says, shift up anyone. Erica, I think what he's saying basically same thing. Would we see another Stellar Blade? Would we see anything else coming from this team if it was in a subscription service? Maybe, probably not. I kind of agree with you with your point.
They exceeded their expectations.
Correct.
People they scoff at 1 million sold in a month. Remember that they announced they sold 1 million. Everybody's like, oh, that's it.
We gotta stop.
That was really good. It's really good for them, especially their team. And then now they've already put it out there like, hey, this exceeded our expectations. It's doing really well. Now we're considering a sequel, right? And they're going to PC as well, a PC port. That's how it should be. That's how it should work. Good games deserve to be supported, and then we get more of these good games.
Of what we like.
Look at From Software and how far they've come. We're going to get more and more From Software
Oh
games.
my
I mean,
God.
obviously they've been doing well, even when they were niche, but to see it grow like that, that's what I love. That's what I want to see. Good developers deserve the support. That's where I stand.
Erica, I think that's your point that you made, and maybe other people have said it, but I think the way you put it actually really puts things in perspective. And I think that that's maybe a good way to think about it. It's not just about that same line that we always say, oh, I support the dev. How about you support the game that you actually love and want more of? You know, I think
how about you play it too?
How about you play it?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Play some games,
that's a very good point. Okay, so
and that's a good point, Erica. That's what Game Pass is. Game Pass is literally the TikTok fucking mentality, bro. Like, flick next short. Yeah. It's just like you get an achievement just for booting up Game Pass, bro.
Yeah, you do. So let's do this. Let's get on Sony's case here for a second. I'll start with Blaze and go down here. We'll kind of do a speed run. I really want to hear what you guys got to say. We would normally do a larger section on this, and we will on next week's show. But Concord Beta releases Blaze, tomorrow. Here's the deal. Now they're saying PlayStation Plus owners will now be able to join, not just pre-orders. So, and shout out to the great Jay Barry who's in the chat. Jay was saying this, I believe, on Twitter today. This is something they should have done anyways, not just because, probably lower pre-order numbers are coming in. Blaze, what do you think of the Concord beta? But you haven't played it yet, but what do you think of the game from what you've seen? And what do you think of the situation now where I think it's a smart move, of course, letting PS Plus players play, because that's a lot of P's, right? But nonetheless, let them play, because listen, the game's not going to be good if you don't have, the audience there. So what's your thoughts on Concord as we go into tomorrow?
Yeah, listen, I think it's a great idea, and maybe you're right. Maybe they looked at the numbers and maybe it was underwhelming, or maybe they're just deciding to take care of their PlayStation Plus. Who knows? Well, we don't. I'm sure it'll come out, but I think I've always said this. I think Concord right now, if you look at Overwatch and the community, all this shit's going on. Like it's in a bad state right now. Overwatch 2, people feel like they've been lied to. You go look on Steam; it's overwhelmingly negative. So Concord could sneak in there and do well. Listen, I'm gonna just be real with you, Mooch. The more I see gameplay of this shit, I just don't know if it's for me. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna play it. I had 5 codes. Now that it's free, like what the, you know what I mean? I felt special to give away codes. Now it's like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get plus. But I think Concord, like we said, Mooch, it's in the good sweet spot in terms of the pricing point, right? The $39.99.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yes.
A great point. And who knows? Maybe they can strike gold again. I think people will gravitate to Concord. I think if people that like those hero type shooters, I think it'll do okay. I really do.
So I hate to say, Blaze, but I completely agree with you, dude. And here's the reason: at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's not. And Singer, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now on the show. But like, in all honesty, the reason I agree with Blaze is at the end of the day, when it comes to these shooters, if it is a crisp, amazing game mechanic feel where it just feels good, and a lot of people are saying it reminds them of Destiny multiplayer, like that is something that speaks volumes. That may be something that, and again, it's not supposed to beat Overwatch, guys. It's not supposed to beat Valorant. But if it just takes 15%, 20% from Valorant's audience, it takes 15%, 20% from Overwatch 2's audience, does Sony consider that a success? Then it has the PlayStation players playing as well, and it's $39.99. I honestly think that it has a shot. And I think that the game, I'm with Blaze though. I don't know if this is a game that is for me to play day in and day out. That's the one thing I have to find out this weekend. But I do have to say, the game looks like it's polished to the nines. It's unbelievable.
It does.
Singer, do you disagree? I heard you kind of chiming in there.
The problem I have, I think it should be free to play, right? And the main reason I say that is, it's like, if you want to take part of the pie, Valorant is a fantastic, tight game, but it's also free to play.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
You buy skins and whatnot.
But Valorant's different from...
it's a hero shooter, essentially.
Yeah, but it's more of a CSGO clone than Overwatch clone.
If you're trying to get into this market, I think of all the... Like, you want to get in, right? Now, you're a new IP, so people will automatically be like, But then you put the price tag on it as well. And a lot of the games that come out are generally free-to-play. Like, you think of a lot of the bigger games, they're all generally free-to-play. Like, Overwatch, you had to buy. And we saw... I don't know. I just don't know how I feel.
Overwatch was free-to-play, too.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah.
Well, it might have been on. You might have had to buy Overwatch. I think you had to buy Overwatch at the beginning, but now it's free.
I remember I had to buy Overwatch because I bought it on the Activision launcher. Anyway, or Blizzard, whatever. So Concord feels like a mission. It could do something for the. I'd say it'd do well on PlayStation. PC. I don't know how it's going to perform, and I have concerns about that. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's really tight, but they also need to make sure they have a lot of content, a lot of maps, a lot of heroes. Like you look at Valorant, they release heroes on the clock. They're like, bang them out, maps, bang them out. There's no stopping. So if they do that, I could see it getting success. So
well, I wanna also say, Mooch is at $40. If they get enough I think first of all, when you go free to play, it's another free to play game, right? Yep. So I think you can't win either way. But again, at $40, if you get enough seals, like Helldivers, people are talking about, oh my god, the numbers have dropped. Bro, they've made their money tenfold, bro. You know what I mean?
10, 20-fold.
So
unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. So if they sell enough units, you know what I mean, and the game does decent, it's not a risk for PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like at $40, at least they make their money back or a profit on it. You know what I mean? At $40. That's just how I look at it.
But there is a mentality, Singer. There is a mentality though, and it's hard to put your finger on it. Like the First Descendant, right? That's a free to play. Shout out to Jay Barry who brings that point up. Like that's a free to play, and 3 times I almost went to go download it and I kind of play it, and I was like, I'm like Blaze just said, another free to play. I always just feel like it's just gonna be even though I think First Descendant may put a good foot forward. I'm just saying it's like what you're gonna get. You're gonna get these big bland worlds, and then it's like to make the game better or to make things better, it's always gonna be behind this massive store that you gotta buy everything. You know what I mean? And it's like that's just what we've come to expect. I'm not saying that that's what that game is, but many of them are. And it's like I would rather actually pay the $40 like I did for Helldivers 2. Play that. I played that for crazy for 3 months, 4 months. But that for $40,
big time.
That's good. That's great.
I got my money's got out
of it.
The problem with that is Helldivers is unique, right? When you think about it, Helldivers, is there another game like Helldivers?
Can I ask you a question?
Can you think of a big game like it? Like Helldivers?
No, I hear you. But the extraction thing isn't exactly new, first of all. Second of all, here's my other point. How many games are out there on the market? Let's say Concord. Let's give Concord the benefit of that for a second, and then we'll tear it apart. Concord might be the most crisp first-person shooter out there, especially if it's think about it, the people that are helping them are Bungie, right? So you have the people that people say all the time, Halo, Destiny, some of the best first-person shooting games out there, period, in history. If this game is crisp and clean and it has all the game modes we like, plus new game modes, plus hits that hero thing, plus they're doing
good shooting mechanics,
plus amazing shooting mechanics. There's nothing really out there. What's out there right now on the market that has amazing shooting mechanics right now, right? If some people will say Call of Duty, okay, fine. Right? What do you say, that Singer? Valorant, okay. So
that gameplay is so freaking crisp.
That's fine, but hear me out. We're naming what are we gonna name?
I mean, it's click and point, bro.
Right, it's 3.
Well, games. There is some skill to it, but yeah.
For sure. But.
No, for sure. I'm not thinking a skill-based way. I'm just trying to say there's a market out there if we're gonna name 3 good games that are in that amazing crisp, amazing shooting mechanics. That's my whole point to you, is that there is still a market out there, and this is if they make desirable characters. Right, $40 is not a lot to ask. We saw that PC players and PlayStation buyers all bought in on Helldivers. I think there's a spot for it.
I think I agree with you. There is. If everything you say comes true, it's going to be successful. But the problem is, will it achieve all those things you just listed?
Oh, that's yet to be determined. That's yet to be determined. That's what I said. This is all if. It's a lot of if.
It's all if. So. Will it be successful if it's everything you said it was?
I got news for you though.
I think it don't need everything Mooch said, but as long as it has a few of those important things like good gunplay mechanics, right? It's a polished game. They have the game modes people are asking for. They're bringing new heroes and shit like that. Like I said, this isn't my type of game. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I like these type of games. I don't. I hate Overwatch with a passion. But But I'm willing to try some. I'm gonna keep it PG. You know what? Go ahead. Next topic. Go ahead.
I want to hear Erica. What do you think about the whole Concord debate? I mean, I know from just following you on Twitter and seeing your videos what you like to play. You may say, Mooch, this isn't my bag, right?
You know what I like to play. Is that obvious?
Well, you give it away a little bit. You
Pretty
give
obvious.
A couple clues.
A little bit, huh? A little bit. I throw hints here and there.
Yeah, but what do you think, Erica? I mean, you hear the arguments. You've seen the gameplay. Is there a chance this has something that if they throw it at the wall, it'll stick? Or no, this is completely a waste of time?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. It could have a chance to be somewhat like Helldivers. It could maybe have that kind of success, especially at first, especially for Destiny players. I know that's kind of their bag. For me, it's not. I'm not going to touch this game. I'm not interested in the hero shooter anymore. Like I played Overwatch for like a couple months and then I was done with it.
Yeah.
Once everybody got good, I was like, nah, this
You're like, I'm out.
We out. No, but yeah, so it's not my thing. I'm not going to touch it. Not even the beta. I'm just too stuck on Elden Ring right now. I can't stop playing it. So I mean, for those Destiny heads that maybe want more of a fix and something different, then I'd say, maybe they're going to enjoy it and it could have some legs, but not for me. That's all I know.
I don't think they're going for the Destiny. I don't think this is like, hey,
no,
Destiny fans. I don't think that's,
I think they're going more
I kind of got that impression, maybe because I know some Destiny fans who I know are going to play it and they're excited.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I could be wrong too. I mean, who knows? But Overwatch, hero shooter players, whoever it's for, hopefully they'll like it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. I think that's why it's such a big deal that they're actually doing the 5 codes and now doing the PS Plus. Because, in all honesty, without a population, this thing is just it's dead on arrival.
Maybe they realized, that let's do this and get more players. I mean, who knows?
Right. Nib, what do you think? What's your take on it, Nib? I also see the games that you play on Twitter. You always post you're playing like Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't always see you post your favorite clips of you destroying people in multiplayer. But is this your bag, Nib? Do you think it has a chance?
Yeah, I mean, I play like multiplayer games intermittently. Like I'll play one like hardcore for a month or two or something like that. Then I'll drift off and I'll play single player games for months and then I'll go back to a multiplayer game. So Helldivers 2 kind of was that multiplayer game for a few months, and now I'm back to my rotation of single player games. But I will say, it didn't appeal to me, like based on what I've seen from the coverage of it. Like I don't know, like I'm kind of over the hero shooter thing as well, and it does seem too much of an amalgamation of things we've seen before. But like you guys touched on, there's a intrinsic X factor to games that you just can't know from just looking at a bloody trailer, right? If it feels fun to play and it has that risk reward and competitive edge and it's fun to play in a group like Helldivers 2 was, then I'll try it out, or I'll play the PS Plus thing, and if it's good, I'll get it. But I do feel even with Helldivers 2, sorry, I didn't think that was going to be nearly as popular as it was. And like Helldivers 1, it was a great game, but it was quite niche. It didn't sell the biggest numbers, and Helldivers 2 comes and it's actually the best selling PlayStation exclusive of all time. Sorry, the fastest selling PlayStation.
I think Helldivers is game of the year so far, bro.
It's amazing.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. If we're not counting DLCs, then yes.
Well, yeah. Not
it's
Stellar Blade, Blaze. You don't think?
No.
For me, Rebirth easy, but
I love Stellar Blade.
Yeah, but we're spoiled. Like there's been some amazing games already. And this is one that wasn't really on my radar. Helldivers 2 that turned out to be amazing. So maybe that could be the same for Concord. As to whether they did it because the pre-order numbers are low, I don't know. Like it could be that, or it could be just they'd wanted to have a broader number of people to test it. Because if they really wanted to increase exposure that much, they would have just made it an open beta full stop, right? Why limit yourself to just PS Plus? They could just make it available to everyone.
You can look at it both ways, right, Nib? So you can either say, well, they looked at it, we're getting close to the deadline here, we don't have enough pre-orders, we got to open it up. Or you could look at it as, well, if we're just going to allow PS Plus members to play it, no one's going to pre-order it. So they decide to, so you can look at it either way. What really happens behind the boardroom, we don't know.
We don't know. But I will just add one more thing is, PlayStation, they cancelled a lot of their live service games. we've heard that they really cracked down, and they said the ones that they didn't feel were meeting that quality bar were axed basically. Helldivers 2 was actually the first of the, let's just say, post crunch down live service games that released. Helldivers 2 is the first of that batch. I think of like another 8 or something to go. Originally there was like 12 or something like that, and obviously Last of Us Factions 2 was one of the ones that were cancelled. There was a few others that were cancelled. There was one studio, I think it was Deviation, maybe they were working with.
Yes,
they cancelled that as well. So the point is, like, there is some sort of QA structure, quality assurance and testing, where they felt this game was good enough to get through. Maybe it could be a flop, maybe it could be a stinker, but this managed to get through where other games didn't. So maybe maybe we're being too critical, and maybe it plays better than maybe we imagine. Or
that's an outstanding point, that they were not scared at all to cancel these other games as a service. They were not, or live service games. They canceled those. This one here, it got the green light. Shout out to B Money. He says this is not for the Overwatch fans. So shout out to B Money. B has made a lot of great points on the show in the past couple of weeks, and I've been talking to him offline about how this game is going to transpire and how it's going to grow. But yeah, I'm very anxious to see what happens over the course of this weekend. So guys, we do have a treat here, since we do have Blaze 4K and Eric Hutz here. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of very excited. I want to ask them both a little Elden Ring here, a little Elden Ring DLC. So
Elden Ring to end the show?
Yes, to end the show. Erica, what do you think? I want to go to you first here. So first and foremost, about what are your thoughts? Because some people are saying that now that this is out and they've beaten it a few times, that Dark Souls 3's DLC absolutely destroyed this. I've seen that from the Souls community.
Shoot.
What are your thoughts on also the fact that they went in and listen, when we say nerfed, let's put things into perspective. They don't mean that they made the enemies easier. It just means that they made those seeds a little bit more potent. So
they just buffed them a little bit, the seeds that you get in the DLC. Yeah.
So what do you think,
it buffs your stats a bit more, especially at the beginning of the DLC. That's I think where the complaints came from. But Dark Souls 3 DLC, yes, and Bloodborne DLC, yes, much harder for me. But then again, I had less experience back then, so maybe that's part of it. But I feel like this DLC is not that hard. Like, the final boss was bullshit. But other than that,
I got some smoke for you for that, Aaron. I'm very disappointed in you, Aaron.
I hated the final boss, Blaze. I hated it.
Absolutely.
I don't even like watching other people fight it. Like, it's just not fun to watch. It's not fun to play through. Anyways, besides that boss, I felt like most of the bosses were very doable. You have so many tools to use. Obviously, we've been saying this since the main game came out. Like, you got your mimic, you got your spirits, you got so many things that you can do, and like the builds you can do. And that, honestly, like, maybe I have to credit the final boss for getting me to like get to this point. But doing the different builds honestly has been so fun. Like, I've been experimenting with like different builds, different weapons. And I feel like I see this game so different now, like better than what I saw before. So I'm like appreciative of the final boss, even though I didn't like him, but I'm appreciative of just the DLC in general, because it's making me just appreciate the whole entire package way more. The lore, the weapons. What's up?
No, I was just going to say, out of curiosity, what is the reason why you don't like the final boss compared to the other bosses, as someone who hasn't played it yet?
Who it is part of it. I get there's like lore reasons for it, but I still didn't really feel it was like, ooh, this one. I didn't feel that. I was kind of like, this? Really? And then the movesets, learning the movesets, and the fact that like my build at the time was doing nothing, so I had to like fix it, which again, I kind of like appreciate it now, but at the time I didn't. So I just have this like negative feeling towards it for multiple reasons. But
what do you think, he was a cheap boss, or was it like, did your deaths feel earned, if that makes sense?
I felt like I was earning the deaths. I didn't feel like it was cheap per se, but the second phase I just felt is too chaotic to where I felt like I couldn't learn it, because it was just such kind of luck based at the time and RNG based, and it was a lot of that. to where
Erica,
when anything comes to luck, if I feel it's luck, I immediately don't like the boss. That's just me personally.
So, yeah, same.
What were the two levels? Yeah. What were the two levels you were at, Erica? If you don't mind me asking, when you attacked that, let's just say
Skadoosh?
Yes,
the shadow.
Yes,
I was at level 18 for.
Okay, wow.
For that one.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was at 9. This is a funny thing. I thought I was at 19 the whole time, and I realized I was at 18.
Okay.
So I was close to 20, which is the max. I was close. I thought, well, this is enough, right? This is enough. But I just felt like I wasn't doing damage really, and it just felt like a chore to learn the fight, and I don't like that feeling. That really threw me off. I was like, I shouldn't feel this way. I should want to learn this fight.
Another question for the people who have beaten it, because I was going to start it, right, and then I just finished Stellar Blade, and I really enjoyed Stellar Blade. I thought it was fantastic, and even though I thought the last 3 bosses were a huge skill check, it just suddenly got way harder.
They get harder.
Yeah, from Raven afterwards, because even me, I was like, oh, this game is easy breezy. And then after Raven, I was like, what the fuck?
Raven was crazy.
Is this supposed to happen? And then after that, I was like, look, I really enjoyed it, but I need to take a break from these crazy hard games. So I'll play Dragon's Dogma 2. But would you say, how does the difficulty compare to the final 3 bosses? Raven, I won't name them actually. The final 3 bosses in Stellar Blade. Is it more difficult than that, or is it?
It's kind of hard to compare because Stellar Blade is
so different.
I feel like Stellar Blade is more like Sekiro in the way of you learn how to do the rhythm and the attacks, and then you're tested at the end, right? And that's how I feel Stellar Blade did that. You took all the skills you learned, all your reflexes.
Yeah.
At that point, you should have it at this point, and it's like it was perfect. I felt. But Elden Ring, because you have all the different builds and different ways of going about fighting the bosses, it can feel like you're just 2-shot dead and you didn't learn a damn thing. And a lot of people complain about Souls games because of that, and Elden Ring because of that. And that never really bothered me ever. But when I fought that final boss, I was like, oh, this is what people are saying. I get where they're coming from now, because I do feel like all my getting good didn't really matter at that point. I wasn't learning, if that makes sense. I wasn't really learning the fights. So it felt disappointing to me in that way, because if you guys know me, I love to learn boss fights. I love to beat my head against the wall. I will be there for hours. If I love the fight, I will have no problem.
Well, I think that's the problem with the DLC, Erica, is a lot. I think a few of the bosses weren't enjoyable to learn. And I'm being honest. And if we're being honest, they could have shrunk down that map. Okay.
Yes.
Because the whole right top side is completely fucking empty with a bunch of fingers. The whole bottom right side is pretty much fucking empty. Okay. The last boss, no spoilers, but it's come on. It's just that's why I said, you know what, I like Ring City. But listen, not to take away from the DLC, because I've beat it twice. I love it.
It's still good.
I'm playing it every day. Absolutely. It's one of From Software's best work. I mean, that's undeniable. It's just, I got 13 seeds on the PS5.
Yeah.
I became lazy. On PC, I gathered most of them. On PS5, I only had 13 seeds when I beat Radon, which was a pain in the ass, even the second time going through it.
Spoiler.
Oh shit! Oops.
Yeah.
Whatever. Sorry, dude. I didn't even. That just happened.
It's been out for a minute. Go ahead. Don't worry about it.
The thing is, Elden Ring DLC, when the bosses become sporadic and it's not fun to learn these encounters, that's when you have to look at it, critically and say, I think they could. You know what I mean? Because there was a few bosses I'm like, yo, this is not fun to learn. You're learning patterns and shit like it. And people that say the Mimic Tier is nerfed, and it's bro, Mimic Tier still walks through everything.
Yeah.
Has so much HP.
Oh, absolutely.
And can literally walk you through that. I've seen people use Mimic Tier. And the other thing I want to talk about, what's the seed? The other seed that helps summons. If you don't summon anybody, let me explain something to you, Eric. When you're in Dark Souls 3, all these other Souls games, when you're even the base game, when you're searching through items and you find an item it can be something unique. In Elden Ring DLC, it's like, yeah, other than the seeds that helped you, what were you really finding? If you don't use summons, it was just, you know what I mean? It just made the exploration a little bit. Yeah. It was
the
just
items,
felt like a little bit of a waste.
I did feel like they lacked a bit with the items, and like really I kind of saw the items as like, okay, this is leading me towards something new. So like it didn't bother me, but I could see now in retrospect, like, yeah, the items were kind of lacking. I felt like, because I'm doing a lot of lore dives right now, and I'm actually doing my first lore video. I'm kind of nervous about it, but I'm like really interested in the lore, and that's helped me like love it even more. And those empty areas that you're talking about, the fingers one sucks, but the other empty area, I don't want to give it away, lore wise is awesome. So there's like there's an empty area where the story is like, holy shit. So that I love. And I felt like they did an amazing job with that. They answered questions that we had about the lore and all of that. But yeah, I couldn't, when I reviewed this game, I hadn't beat the final boss yet, so it was like a review in progress. But I didn't give it a perfect score. Everybody was doing like, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
5 out of 5. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. It wasn't perfect to me because I had those little glaring issues that were kind of building up at the time, you know?
Would you still give it the same score now after you finished with it?
Yeah, I would say it's like 9 out of 10. Like it's awesome what it is. Like if we're judging it by Elden Ring's main game and like the whole package, yes, you have to play this DLC if you love Elden Ring. But it's not perfect.
Real quick question for Blaze here. Blaze, you said 13 seeds on the PS5. Real quick on that run. So for those in the audience that may or may not know, like Nib, when you say 13 seeds, it's 2 seeds to upgrade your character, to get right. So are you saying you were at level 13 or you found 13?
Level 13. Okay, I'm sorry. 13. Let me correct that. Level 13.
Okay,
gotcha.
That's how I understood it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got that, but I was just saying because when you said seeds, I was like, wait a minute, because like that would be like, you know, because like you find 10 seeds.
Like level 5 or
it's
something.
Level 5, right? Level 5 or level 6.
Yeah. No. That's crazy. But like, I was seeing people struggle on certain bosses, and there was all these cheeses coming out. And I had seen a video, multiple similar videos to Erica's video that she made. Go check it out. Great video, and it's doing great, by the way, for a video. When I seen that, I said, you know, I swear, I even said this. I said, damn. I was like, she really must have been going through it, because for her to like, you know what I mean, like take that road.
Because you know me, Blaze, like you know I don't do that. Like I never do that. You know, so I had to be going through it.
I'm sure it felt so good to do, though. I'm sure. It felt great.
Dude, I felt no regret. It was worth it. It was so worth it.
And anybody who's listening to the show right now, these guys are not kidding. Every time I see them online, they're playing Elden Ring. Like, that's not a joke.
I'm playing it right now.
Right? Hey, that's breaking the rules, Erica. No, I'm kidding. So, Erica, what do you think?
It's an easy game to play and talk about.
It really is. And I'll tell you, I'm enjoying it. I'm nowhere near the Souls fan that Blaze is. Erica, shout out to the great Sin Vendetta, you guys know as well. But like
Sin's awesome.
Oh yeah,
he's the amount that
he's
he
wiki,
knows.
Bro.
He is wiki.
He is.
He's crazy. Like he'll be like,
him and T-Rock. They're my wiki.
Yes, T-Rock as well.
Yeah, T-Rock's another one.
To everyone who's struggling with the game, she's kind of dunked on them here, because she's like, earlier she said it's not that challenging. Now she's saying, motherfucker, I'm on a podcast and I'm playing the game.
No. To be fair, I'm in the main game just like cleaning up items. I'm like casually playing. I'm not like playing against bosses.
I was gonna say that would be a bit more difficult.
And that's the thing, Eric, you know, to hear you say, I appreciated the final boss because it made me change up my build. Like that's the beauty of Souls games. Like awesome. I've always you don't do PvP like I do. So changing up your build to me is the funnest. It's the reason why I play these games, to like go into a PvP with different builds and see what people are using, what's meta, what's not meta, or it's just that's the best part.
I see it now. Like I'm starting to open my eyes. Like I always saw Souls as like amazing, but I always was boring with it. I would have the same build, strength build, same sword the whole time. And you know, I didn't.
God, you guys love that.
Right. I love the bleed. You know, I love bleed in this game, but that game for the boss forced me to be like, nope, Erica, this ain't gonna work. You gotta do something else. And so I just did a lot of research, and I think that was the fun part, was like researching and looking for things, and then I got to make content on it, and my video did really good. So I'm like, shit, this is awesome. Like,
That's your opportunity to keep going.
Do you guys
once your video explodes like yours did, that's the sign to say, hey, more of this. And by the way, I'm not trying to take shots, but like this DLC exposed a lot of Elden Ring players because everybody's stream I tuned into, I'm not taking shots at you, you know. If you're using the fingerprint shield, which, you know, you literally just stand there and absorb all bosses' hits. The reason why I have a problem with I don't have a problem with it because it's in the game, but I have a problem with it because it's not learning you anything. You're not learning how to move around the boss, how to dance. You're just learning to hold up your shield, and it's you're not going to learn anything. You're not, you know what I'm saying? So that's the problem I had with that, and I just feel like a lot of people. These bosses were much more sporadic. They were much more like random in their attacks.
So,
and
Blaze,
quick attacks too.
Blaze, the one thing I want to say is, and maybe it's because I hang out with you and I hang out with Sin, and like you guys have always been very open, very saying, Mooch, you play the way you want to play. But like you guys know, like you guys can go check out my streams on Twitch. Like they're there. Like I legit. I don't go in with the mimic, and I don't go in with this and that. And they're like, you guys are like, no, you can use that. You can use that. Don't worry what people say. Just play the game. But the thing is, it's kind of like playing basketball, right? Like you could learn to just bank every shot off the glass, everything, all the angles, learn everything. But does it look and feel as professional as when you just snap the net? No, absolutely not, right? So my whole point is like, I've kind of always gone into this where I have some of these weapons, but I try to defeat each boss with as little help as possible. Now you've seen Blaze. I think maybe one or two.
Yeah, you go in solo.
I
give you credit, Mooch.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I want to try and do it, and I want to like be a part of this like elite team that you guys are a part of, because like that's what makes that game so special. There's not many games out there right now. If you guys are listening in the audience, that like you play this game and like people. Like when I stream other games, you get an audience. When I stream this game, I get a larger audience because people want to see.
They love watching
Erica,
it. I'm there in a heartbeat. Like it's fun to watch.
And I appreciate you and Blaze so much for being there. Honestly, I watch like when I'm doing work and I just have stuff to do on the weekend. I just put on Twitch. You guys can see I'll have Twitch on. You guys who follow me on PlayStation or Xbox, I'll put Twitch on and I watch Elden Ring play because I'm fascinated by the people that play with they're like level 1 and they get down to like one hit. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like those guys that take on
all the challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, they do a lot of challenges and stuff.
I am so wowed. Like I'm
Barry's bringing up Commander Guys. It's like, listen, I learned right away with that fight, dog. Get off the horse kept getting me killed. Bro, I got off the horse immediately.
Don't use the horse.
The horse has 0 iframes. It's not going to save you. You know what I mean? Usually the horse helps you out in boss fights because you can come by, swing. But like with that fight, it's that's the thing. There's a lot of people thinking there's a lot of cheap shit going on. But like I recommend in that fight, get off the fucking horse, bro. Like immediately.
On this Elden Ring talk, remember when the DLC first came out, where I was on this podcast and I said, I had no real interest. Whatnot. I played Elden Ring, beat it. I purchased the DLC swiftly. I went for Ranni's ending because I absolutely like Ranni.
That's the best
one.
Yes.
Like Ranni is just
it's the best. It's the best quest.
I love all the endings, but yeah, it is the best.
I went for Ranni, and then I messed up. Instead of going back to Mog, just going back to the game once I beat it, I hit starting the new game plus, right? So here I am back in the beginning. All my sights of grace are gone, and I'm like, I have to go all the way back to Mog, don't I? So
you played on Xbox?
No, Steam.
Okay.
But and then as I was learning the bosses, I was like, it reignited what I had before. Like, because Elder Scrolls Online, for example, it was when you go into the rage, every single boss you have to learn the pans, and then that helped in Elden Ring, and it was really good having that. And League of Legends also part of helped me beat that game because it's all about here's the combo, here's the pan, because you have to go, and it's always the same. You recognize the pan, and I went through as a mage build. It is what it is. But in any RPG, I'm always a mage. I always go mage, so Elden Ring it made sense to go mage build.
What level did you get up to, Death Singer, as you defeated the main story before DLC? Do you remember your level?
I don't remember. I'll have to log in.
No, the only reason I was only asking because when you said your mage build, which I went with more of a knight build, but like when you or melee, when you went with mage, I was just curious. Did you like throw a ton of intelligence, a ton of arcane? I'm assuming.
Yes, I did. I went 60. I went above 60 because my favorite spell was Comet Azure. Like Comet Azure's.
Damn cheese spell. Holy shit.
I know
Hadouken?
He's so cool. I was taking screenshots when I first got the spell because, I was stood on the ledge thing and he just looks so cool shooting this giant ass galactic beam that just melts shit in front of you. I'm like, this is really, really cool. So anyway, beat the game and I'm going into the DLC. I finally got there. I actually entered the area, but I haven't really explored it, so I can't wait to finish that up. And then, but I mean, it's Elden Ring. Hey, it surprised me, but I'm a huge fan. So if they make a second one, I'm there day one. So
that's curious to me if they're gonna do another. Erica and Blaze, if you guys know, please let me know. Like, are they doing it? Miyazaki never really talks into the future like this, but. Do you expect another DLC? Do you expect an Elden Ring 2? Or do you expect, I'm going to say it, do you expect a Dark Souls 4?
Go
ahead, Blaze, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was going to say traditionally, if we're looking at it, usually they release a DLC, but like, Dark Souls 2 had 2 DLCs, Dark Souls 3 had 2 DLCs.
Yeah, say 2, right.
But I think Miyazaki said he's done with Dark Souls. Right.
Yeah.
But
yep.
God, I would listen. I'm going against. People probably hate me for this. I don't mind the linear Dark Souls. Like I would, if too. Dark Souls 4 dropped today and they said Dark Souls 4 coming soon and it's a linear experience, I would almost like invite that in. Like I wouldn't mind. It would be refreshing to me. You know what I mean? The thing that gets lost in Elden Ring, their level design, especially in the DLC, the verticality was incredible. Finding these map fragments underneath rivers that lead underneath caves, everything led from one point of the map. I don't want to spoil anything, but this one point of the map, really, you could get to all sides of the map. It was excellent. But like Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls in general, like there's something dope about finding a shortcut or finding a separate area that was cut to the side that, you know what I mean? Like you see the level design full-fleshed in a linear experience. You see them really flex their muscles in terms of level design, how everything's interconnected. And I'm not saying it's not in Elden Ring that don't show up, but it's in such a wider span that you kind of lose that. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
But I think if they're smart, they continue making Elden Ring 2 or whatever they want. I think Firm Software for me. Even another game that doesn't get a lot of credit is Armored Core. Excellent fucking game. One of my favorite games. Love that game. And I just think right now they got the hot hand. Whatever they decide to do in terms of Souls likes, they're going to succeed at it. So I think they should make another DLC. I can see it happening.
Remember though, this one was supposed to be 2, and they put it together. For one.
Together, that's the only thing, right? That's true.
That's the thing that kind of throws it off, yeah. And then I don't know if you saw Blaze too. I'm sure you did. Miyazaki saying like he hasn't even hit his final form yet. Like with open world, he feels like Elden Ring is close, but it's not like where he wants it to be. Like that's how much he has it in him to do more open world and like make it even better. So it's like wild.
Erica, what did you say a second ago? Erica, what did you say a second ago? This was going to be 1 and 2, and it was Elden Rings combined. Is that what you said?
The DLCs.
Oh, okay. The DLCs are combined.
They were supposed to release, I think, half of this last year, and then they waited and they combined it for this big DLC.
And you guys both had your criticisms respectively, but it sounds like it needed to wait, I think. Right?
Possibly, or maybe putting it together made it a little bit more empty in a sense. Like maybe they made it too big, and then that's why some of the areas are empty. So
just before,
and we don't mean literally empty, you guys. Like there's enemies and there is some items, but like empty in the way of like it doesn't really do much for the story, or it doesn't have a good item to find or a boss. There are areas like that.
The great Jay Bari says
on it quickly.
Oh, go ahead, Nim.
No, I was just going to say, because it's something right before the show I was meaning to ask. One, how much of a nerf was the nerf actually in like percentage terms? Is it notably easier? And two, do you think the nerf has made the DLC better or worse?
Oh, the buff to the seeds.
The
you mean?
buff to the seeds.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't say how much it's like helped me because that buff happened when I was at the final boss already. So I don't know how it.
Yeah, me either. I beat it twice, and then they nerfed. So.
Right, but if you want to compare DLCs to different DLCs, like I feel like this one's not the hardest. Bloodborne was the hardest for me. The DLC.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if that's what you're asking.
What about if we take away difficulty, though, Erica? Which one was the most enjoyable to play through of the DLCs? Would you say it was I'll say Dark Souls 3's Bloodborne or Elden Ring?
Probably, enjoyable.
Yeah, like where you were like, this is just something I would play over and over and over. Because like even though you're doing the different builds, it doesn't necessarily sound like the game itself. I mean, you're enjoying the aspects of the game and the capabilities the game provides you. And to go back and change your experience, but like the experience itself, the world, the enemies, the lore, which is the best?
I mean, enemy and boss wise, Elden Ring might not be the best, but in terms of like enjoyment, I mean, it's an open world, like in Dark Souls. So I'm just like in awe of like the freaking areas, the environments in DLC are absolutely gorgeous.
And their art direction is unmatched.
It's top notch. Like it's top notch. So I mean, obviously this is in recent memory. I'm playing it right now. So I feel like Elden Ring was just so enjoyable. Like the DLC and just going into with that feeling of opening a new area and then you see how beautiful it is and how different it is from the last area. They can't be touched. Like they can't be touched. That's how I feel. I feel like Miyazaki is just he hit peak, man. He really did.
And the area I'm talking about is Shadowkeep.
Yeah, Shadowkeep right is there. Amazing.
That's the best area in the DLC because it's layered, and again, from Shadowkeep, literally you can get to every point of the map.
Exactly. The areas, it blew my mind how big it is in there. Like it's just insane.
Like for you in the audience that are listening to this is why this game just means so much to me, and it's how much the Souls series has just kind of grown year after year. It just keeps exponentially growing, and like just that mysteria, people being like, this is a game I gotta play. When you hear people, like you're hearing Blaze, you're hearing Erica right now, but like I say, if you have a moment, go on to Twitch or go wherever you like, go on to YouTube Gaming, watch people playing Elden Ring. It is just man, like right now on Twitch, I don't have the number right now, I shouldn't say right, but like peak time, there'll be 145,000 people watching. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the number is nuts. 100,000 people watching Elden Ring. And Elden Ring, that's a game that came out a while ago. Of course, the DLC is relatively new. And it's just, to me, that's mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. I do have to say shout out to the great Jay Bari. Jay Bari makes a point here. He goes, why don't gamers say Elden Ring needs to be in Game Pass? I wonder why. The great Jay Bari with a bit of a... yeah, we didn't hear that mentioned when that game came out. But nonetheless, guys, I want to say thanks. I promised Erica we'd end at 9:00. I mooched her time.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, I'm playing at the same time. I'd probably be playing anyway, so it's all good.
Mooch, don't ask questions on what kid you like. What's your favorite kid? Like, that's what you do when you ask those questions.
I know, Blaze.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
You know, it's one of those things, Blaze, where it's kind of like, I'm kind of asking for the audience member that says, okay, maybe I dabbled in Bloodborne. Maybe I played Dark Souls 2, but I didn't play the others. Which is the one that I should go back and play? And listen, time and time again, and I gotta say shout out to the great Luca, Luca's the one that got me to get into Bloodborne. I got into Bloodborne and I platinumed it and I did the DLC and I loved every second of it. I'm in the camp of like everybody's like, come on, give me Bloodborne at 60 frames on PS5. You know what I say? Save the money, save the time, give me Bloodborne 2. That's me. I want Bloodborne 2.
I don't know about that.
Historical purposes. It needs to be 60. Give us both.
It does need to be 60, but
I'll take both, yeah, or a remake and have it 60.
That's fine. That's fine. But I really want to.
If you beat Elden Ring, Mooch, if you beat this DLC and you're looking for more Souls,
yes,
the only thing that's going to be close to Elden Ring in terms of like movement speed and stuff
Dark Souls 3
is Dark Souls 3. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3.
And you're going to see a lot of the same art direction. You'll see what I mean.
Exactly. That's the one I always recommend to people, like where to start. if not Elden Ring, start with Dark Souls 3.
Yes.
I started with Elden Ring, so.
No, that's fine. But like the reason me and Blaze have talked about this offline, what he's saying to you is that you have to remember Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 Singer were made quite some time ago, and it still has a very, very sticky kind of, movement to it where this new, what you feel in Elden Ring is what you feel in Dark Souls 3. So that movement
and that's thanks to Bloodborne. Bloodborne increased that movement speed. Then it got passed over to Dark Souls 3, and then they improved it to Elden Ring.
So wait, if Dark Souls 3 goes on, it will go on sale. It's always in the sale. So I'll just pick up Dark Souls 3 once I be in the DLC.
Yeah, definitely. You'll love it. You'll love it. The boss fights, the music is top notch. My favorite.
Because I'm willing to go out on the limb on that. And if they ever bring Bloodborne to PC at some point, I'll play that. But I'm not buying a PlayStation just to play Bloodborne. So
yes, Singer, you need to play God of War next. Trust me.
Yes.
No, there is.
We're back to this again.
I have a feeling you're gonna like it. I know. The thing is, I will drop it really quickly if it doesn't interest me. I need a game to interest me for me to enjoy it. Just drop it then if it doesn't.
Dragon Quest 11, right? The thing is, when I look at that game, when they showed off the trailers, I'm like, oh, this looks good. But then I was playing other things, and then when it came to Game Pass, I had the chance to try it out. So I tried it out.
You need to get rid of this God of War thing. That's like. You need to play God of War. Bro.
Yeah, you really should try it.
Hey, no, but
he said earlier he loves Ghost of Tsushima, and I was like, well, what are you not interested in God of War? He goes, because it's an action adventure, and I was like, you're so Ghost of Tsushima, man.
Like, are you good, brother?
No, but it's what would interest me. See, I'm not going to game just to try something. Like, I tried Horizon because we had a massive argument about if it's a good RPG, and people were saying it's a fantastic game, you need to try it. So I picked up Zero Dawn, gave it 10 hours. Absolutely not. And when I first saw the game, that's the exact feeling I had, and I came away with the exact feeling because
but remember I said earlier because Horizon is a shooter and this is a hack and slash, and you seem to be gravitating more towards the hack and slash style of combat. I think this will appeal to you more because it still has what you loved about Ghost of Tsushima. If anything, it has more build complexity, more RPG light mechanics. So all of the things
I'm not gonna. I'm not. It doesn't interest me. Though. Ghost of Tsushima actually interested me when if I compare the feeling of when they showed off Ghost of Tsushima at the PlayStation Showcase versus when they showed off God of War 2018. Like, God of War, it did nothing for me.
Yeah, but you were really on that Xbox show. You were hating heavy during that time. I remember. I was around you. Trust me.
But the thing is, it's like Ghost of Tsushima, when they showed that off, I was like, this actually looks and then I left it at that. Now I had the opportunity. It solidified what I felt when I look at Horizon.
Somebody game gift Death Singer God of War on Steam. Just give him the game.
So let me ask you another question. You said Elden Ring is your first Soulsborne game, right?
Yeah, it is.
So how come the other games didn't appeal to you?
Because I completely missed the boat when they came out because I was playing other games at the time.
And did you enjoy Elden Ring?
I did enjoy Elden Ring.
I'm telling you, bro.
No, but here's the thing. Here's what you're not understanding. All these games that I'm enjoying interested me when they were first shown. Games that don't interest me, I have not liked. So, therefore...
It'll just be for you. It's fine.
Exactly. And this is what you have to understand, is it just does nothing for me. If I play this game, I'm going to be bored.
I understand you feel that way, but what I mean, based on the things you said, it seems like, one, because of Game Pass, you're trying new games that you may not have tried and you're enjoying them, and two, certain games franchises that you never dabbled in the past, now you're trying, you're enjoying. So I just thought maybe this could be one of those games.
That's the way I was reading it too. So it wasn't really to push you into a genre you don't like. It's just you've given a couple of examples where you said, I don't like this, I tried it, I liked it. And this is something that, like, I could even hear you. If you're, like, coming from the original God of Wars, which those were brilliant, but I really do, I enjoyed 2018 and Ragnarok much more. Yeah, much more.
Yeah, see, I understand that, but it's when I look at like the Xbox showcase they just had, right? All the showcases, every single one, your game has to interest me for me to be interested in your game. If I get no interest, if no flags go up going, this game, like the Mecha Break game they showed off, I had no idea that existed, but I'm like, yo, this is something I'm interested in. So more than likely, I'm going to go play the game and I'll probably enjoy it. Every game that I've taken an interest in, I've always gone for.
So out of curiosity, has there ever been, and this is to the whole panel, has there ever been a game where like it's not necessarily your preferred genre or maybe the style of game that you like playing, but because it, you know, a friend recommended it or it was critically well received, you tried it and you loved it? Because I would say like, oh God, I've forgotten the name now. Inscription, that was for me, like some friends were like recommending it, like you got to try this game. I don't really like all the I don't really like that 2-bit style of visuals, and you know, I'm just like, it seems a bit archaic and it looked really trippy and weird, and I was like, do you know what, if everyone is recommending it that I know, I'll give it a go. And I absolutely loved it. Like, it was creative, unique, like quirky, like, you know, different kinds of mechanics and stuff like that. So you know, that's the only reason I was saying it. I'm not like you know, you have to, if it doesn't interest you, don't play it. But you know, because this whole Game Pass conversation, one of the things that I keep hearing reiterated is people try games outside their wheelhouse and end up enjoying them. So I just wondered if it could be something similar.
I don't know. I agree with him on that though, because I've been gaming long enough where I know what I like and don't like just by looking at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just being fair.
So my answer for Nib would be, honestly, that's why, because what Blaze says is right. But if you go back far enough, that would be, honestly, I'll just throw out a game like BioShock. So I remember when my brother was like, you got to try this game out. And I looked at it, I saw I watched like a clip of it, and and I was like, you know, I'm like, there's a power in one hand and you have a wrench in the other. I was like, and you know, you're underwater in this utopia that's supposed to be used. And I really thought I was not going to like it. And he literally came over, it was on 360, and he's like, here. And he just left the game. He's like, I got to go. Leaves the game there. I picked it up one day, just random. It was sitting there for like a week. Put it in, played it, never put it down. I never put it down. So, I mean, that's the only example I have, because like Blaze says, Eric was saying, like, now I'm at a point where even when we're watching game shows or any of these things, you know, the Xbox game show, the PlayStation, you kind of see a game and you're like, oh, that already, I know I'm going to like that, or I know that's probably not my bag. But again, Nib makes a good point. The number one pitch to Game Pass, and when I have people on the show, is, hey, the great thing about Game Pass is I didn't know I would try this game and like it. So, like, you should, you know, and now that, I'm not saying to go do that with a $70 game, but a lot of these games now that you can play on Steam sale or anything else, or on PlayStation sale, they're cheap. So you can go pick them up for $20-$30 and give them a shot.
I will say, sometimes it's the other way, right? Because I remember, I won't name him, but like someone like kept telling me, oh, you got to play Recore. It's fantastic. It has also, and I'm looking at
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
No, Recore, no.
And then I looked at the reception. I was like, is he tripping? Like, was he on drugs at the time? Like, maybe he's legit.
I will say this about Recore. Recore had potential in development. It just didn't execute properly at all. The mechanics, the jumping, it was horrible.
Correct something in the chat though. No, the first console was not 360. It was the Sega Master System. And if you don't know what that is, we're not in the same league of gaming. So, unless you know what a Sega Master System was and you played the very first Sonic.
You could tell he took that personally.
He took that personally.
I've been gaming longer than you, probably.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Erica is going to take this personally if I don't end this show soon. I can tell you right now.
I gotta go do mom duty.
I was like, Erica's got things to do, and I told her I'd be done 54 minutes ago.
It's all good.
Let me
I had fun, so it's all good.
It was a great show. Honestly, I want to thank the chat. I want to thank this amazing panel. Some people had to leave early. I'll do a quick outro here, guys. Please do hit the like button. Follow if you are not as well. Please subscribe. I will start in reverse order. We'll go with Blaze. Blaze, listen, I saw you retweeting out the show and everything today, so I was like, I gotta hit my boy up and see if he's got some time to come in. Blaze, thanks for taking some time on the improv and just popping in here with us and hanging out. Blaze, let people know where they can find you. Thank you.
You know, I knew you were a different beast when you hit me up on my PlayStation messages and asked me to join the show. I said, all right, this guy's different, bro. This guy hit me up on every platform. He made sure, hey, I got that message, bro.
Dude, the first time it plays, I hit him up on Discord. I hit him up on DM on Twitter. I hit him on PlayStation. Dude, Italian people, we don't stop, buddy. We got to get our thing down. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, let's go. You got to get on the show. So we finally got Blaze here. But Blaze, I appreciate you being here, man, as always.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. It was great conversations. Glad to be here as always. Always good conversations on the show. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody on the panel, and have a blessed night.
Thank you, Blaze. Appreciate that. Erica as well. I want to say thank you so much. I know that we don't get a chance to podcast enough, but everyone's busy and we're on different coasts, so different time zones. But I do want to say thank you so much for being here tonight. Love the work you're doing. Always love your takes on Twitter. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Thank you.
And I'll be bothering you just like Blaze. I'll be bothering you and be like, Erica, when can you come on the show again? But yeah, let people know where they can find you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, of course. I had fun. I'm glad Blaze got to join too, because I love talking Souls with Blaze. That's the Souls.
We gotta have we gotta really do this though. Like we gotta get maybe a round table.
Yes.
We got it with Luca too, for sure. But yeah, I mean, Erica's for the win. You guys can find me by that name everywhere. I do a lot of Souls content. I've been doing Elden Ring videos. I'm actually working on my first lore type of video, so we'll see how it comes out. I think it'll be all right. It'll be pretty good to start, because everybody tells me like, Erica, you should do lore. You should do lore, and it's like it's difficult, but I'm taking a chance. So if you guys want to check that out, yeah, definitely sub to the channel and all that. It's growing pretty fast recently too, so I'm just super excited about that. But yeah, thanks for having me, Mooch. It was fun, and until next time, guys.
Appreciate it, Erica. Thank you so much. The great Death Singer, love having you on the show as always. You give the chat a run for their money as well.
Trust me, I mean, when we were having that God of War conversation, I saw all my fans in the chat were incredibly happy with me.
Yes.
On my thoughts on God of War. Like they absolutely love me. I appreciate all the love. Thank you very much.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I am being very sarcastic.
Extremely.
But yeah, it's always a pleasure, Mooch, on the show. I'm gonna keep it real. If I don't like your game, I ain't gonna play your game.
There it is.
So, it is what it is.
Singer, great to have you here as always. The great Nib, by the way. Nib, for you and Singer, it is extremely early in the morning over there. I want to say thank you for both of your time. But Nib, and not just that, Nib probably also got done with, what do they say? What is the proper terminology? Is it 2 turnovers for service? You had 2 full houses. So a lot of work being done over there.
No, I'll tell you what, because of all the football and stuff with
the Euro Cup.
It's not been as busy, which is good and bad. Obviously, it's bad you get less money.
Right.
But it's good in the sense that I can actually just do other stuff, and I can work on other business ideas or play games and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. But yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. This is actually the only podcast I actually go on, because I take
that as an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so yeah, it's really good conversations, and great panel. Couple of new faces as well I've never been on with before. So yeah, awesome stuff.
Well, that's what we always try to do here, Nib, and that's what I think makes the show a little bit different, is always having different folks on and different points of view, and I truly love that. That's what makes every Thursday that exciting, you know what I mean? So, Nib, thanks for being here. A quick couple shout-outs real quick. BRAP had to leave early. BRAP under the weather. Send them your best. That's Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to the great Gaming Forte who stopped in. Shout out to Slow Mo as well. They're both doing DPS podcasts right now. Go over and see them over on their channel, and tell them Mooch sent you. And the great David Faulkner, as I always like to say, our community gaming accountant, was with us tonight. So shout out to the great David as well over there in Australia. He's probably having a late lunch as we speak. That being said, guys, we'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And you guys know to follow me over on Twitch. It's the same here. It's the same as everywhere on X as well. It's Mooch TV, M00CHTV. Drop the O's for zeros. We'll see you next Thursday night. Guys, hit the like button on the way out. Peace out, good night, and enjoy your weekend.
There's everyone.
That was fun.
I'm reading the comments now, and actually, Death Singer is getting blasted.